You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Happy Thanksgiving once again. Ka-Pow, the Pop Culture Podcast, is back for part 2 of our, what do we call it, KPP's Talking Turkey Brackathon, Turkey Day Marathon.
Turkey Day TV Tourney.
TV Tourney. We're counting down the
Turkey
best
Bash
Thanksgiving
24
episodes of TV, comedy, drama, sitcom, you name it, modern era, old era. I don't know. What's the oldest one on our list? It's how far back did we even go?
I feel
Bewitched
like
is pretty old.
Bewitched
Bewitched,
is...
something from the 60s, probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if you checked out our last episode, part 1, we narrowed it down to the 2 of our final 4, so we're going to get the second half of the bracket done right now.
We
So
won't
let's
spoil that in case you want to go back
jump.
and listen to that episode.
Yeah,
Sure.
You don't have to listen to it in any
We
order.
won't
How about
reveal
that?
anything that happened in that first half until we get towards the end of this one. Excited? We did half. I wish there was 10 more halves.
Man, I am so full I had to put my stretchy pants on.
That was a recurring theme in some episodes, but it was episodes that I watched that aren't on the bracket.
Missed out.
There's a lot of common themes, a lot of recurring motifs. Thanksgiving, it's about turkey, it's about family, it's about leftovers, it's about laughing and having a good time and podcasting. So yeah, we're gonna have some unique shows you might not have thought of off the top of your head when you think Turkey Day specials, but that's the fun of it. So let's dive in for part 2.
You don't get 56 things on a bracket without reaching pretty deep in the turkey well here.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. The gravy boat runneth over here of TV episodes. So yeah,
a lot of stuffing going on here.
we are currently we're going to start the other half of the bracket here.
Yep.
We're going to do something similar right off the bat. Previously in our last episode, we had multiple Friends episodes that we had to choose.
You just said we weren't going to tell anything.
Sorry. I didn't say which ones they were.
Yeah, that's true. True.
So, yeah. So this time we're going to do that with another show, a more current show that's still on today. That
oh yeah, you did make me watch 3 of these.
Yes, fans of Bob's Burgers know Bob's obsession with his favorite holiday, Thanksgiving, and I personally, I think they're all bangers. So it was tough for
Oops, all bangers.
Oops, all bangers. It was tough to choose here. I didn't know which, what was going to be.
It really come down to us. We're
a little bit.
I'm not a Bob's Burgers faithful. I don't have anything against Bob's Burgers, but I don't go out of my way to watch it. I've now doubled the amount of Bob Burgers episodes that I've watched.
That was my whole goal in all of this.
I was like, how many of these is he going to make me watch?
So Seth got 3 Friends episodes on the list. Cliff got 3 Bob's Burgers episodes on the list. I didn't get nothing. Did
you come with us with anything?
I wanted all 5 New Girl episodes on the list.
I would have watched them. I would have watched them.
Yeah.
I should have pushed more the middle episodes on instead of just the one.
So Bob's Burgers has been on a long time. Animated shows can run
forever,
ages.
Yeah,
and this one had, it's paired up a lot of times with Simpsons, which has been on for 36 years. So it's never going to quite hit that. But
well,
it's still been. What's it been?
We are currently
15,
in season 15.
15.
So
it's an animated comedy about a husband and wife that run a burger joint and their 3 precocious kids. I think it's hilarious. It's co-created by the guy did this show Home Movies on Adult Swim years ago that I loved, where H. John Benjamin was the voice.
Mm-hmm.
And it only lasted a couple of seasons. And then I saw they were coming back and making this show. I'm like, hey, I'll be into that. So I was there at the beginning. I haven't watched every single episode of every single season, but I still enjoy it when I catch it on new ones or reruns. So
Yeah.
I had no problem watching 3 of these.
Yeah, it's a show we've watched since pretty much the beginning. My kids love it. I love it. And I guess time flies, but I didn't realize how popular this show is especially with younger people, that have grown up watching this. You know, they've grown up with the Belcher kids. And it's so honest. I think that's my favorite part of it. It's weird. We're all weird in real life, but they're not embarrassed by it. They're all in on their weirdness and big personalities. And I love it. The first episode we're going to talk about here is going to be it's from season 7. It's episode 6, Thanksgiving episode that year. It's called The Quirk Deucers. So this is the kids. Tina writes erotic fan fiction. Of course, everybody knows that, right? And she has written a story about Thanksgiving. And it becomes they decide the other kids want to put it on, make it into a play, and in an effort to get a half-day school off, basically, is what it amounts to. So, of course, they cast all their weirdo kid friends and that have no talent or the worst talent, and pass on all the kids in school that show some ability. So yeah.
They always have really great comedians do the voices of all the other kids, or Kevin Kline as Mr. Fischoeder. They always get really good cast, talented people.
So Seth, you're not a huge Bob's guy or fan. What do you think? I don't have
anything against it.
I know, but it's just not.
They were all good. They were all good.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the other one it's up against?
So immediately this one's going to come up against season 5, episode 4, Dawn of the Peck. This was the one where with the turkeys go berserk at Wonder Wharf, and the kids get everybody gets trapped. They're all hiding and running from the fowl, and the kids end up stuck on a carnival ride as Teddy and Linda are trying to save them, and Bob is I believe Bob is stuck at home cooking Thanksgiving dinner. So
no, he's oblivious because he was mad they're skipping Thanksgiving. So he's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just gonna sit around the house all day.
Yes.
Then he couldn't do it anymore, so he had to go to the grocery store and do it.
Right. He
They had
can't
to save them.
He can't stand. Yeah. So yeah, kind of crazy.
This
it was
one
a little
had
different.
a WKRP vibe of like things getting out of hand with
The turkeys.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of. But
I were they geese or something?
They were
they
mixed.
had like chickens and geese mixed in.
And the geese were really mean, which in the episode influenced the turkeys to also be mean and go after people.
Yeah.
So
definitely had
they're eating those geese.
That horror movie vibe of Dawn of the Dead, which the title's referencing. So
yeah.
So which one?
I like that one. I like the Dawn of the Peck better. It had more, better humor pieces.
I like the play.
Humor pieces?
That's what you said.
It's getting late, isn't it? We're just starting part 2, and I'm already saying things like
more humor pieces. Yeah, I like
that's not a thing. Sorry.
I like the play better. I like the trying to get out half day of school. I like the over the top, bloody thing. All of that.
Yeah.
That was my preferred one of those two for sure.
Not going to dinner like that quirky turkey. Yeah.
Why can't I
I be like the other turkeys? They're all out having fun. Is it 'cause I'm scrawny and have glasses and rather smallish buns? There he is, my crush, the most handsome pig. What a rush! Yeah! Man, oh man, I dig that pig.
I thought I was a guest, but they just want me for my breast.
Much to my surprise, they're all staring at my thighs.
They all look starving and ready for the carving.
Why don't they eat a pig instead?
Oh God, they're chopping off my head. I used to spend my time wishing for a
Yeah, for me, I think I'm gonna go Dawn of the Peck also. It was just such an insane premise of. I love the kids being trapped on the or not Tilt-A-Whirl, but the.
You don't like the song?
I love the
play?
song. I do. I love the song. It's just not.
That's the bit. That songs are huge on this show. Like
Right.
They are.
There's
was
so
great.
much music.
It was a great
Yeah.
song, and the whole the heads and just like that felt like a moment to me. The Peck thing feels like easily written. I felt like the play was more original or whatever.
Sure. Which is very common for a
But
Bob's.
you guys chose the football episode, so
Well, that's true too. So.
That's just more of our taste for humor pieces.
exactly. Yeah.
Hey, regular-sized Rudy. I didn't know you were a scrambling man.
I'm not usually, but since my parents are divorced, I gotta have 2 dinners, so I'm trying to make myself throw up breakfast.
One time I had 2 dinners because Ollie was too sick to eat his. I had malaria.
Yeah.
So okay. So Dawn of the Peck, which was, what did we say, season 5. I'll move that over. We can just go ahead and place it up against Bob's Burgers season 4 episode 5, was it? Was that the one we just did? Season 5 episode 4. The other one is, hold on here.
Flipping it. Season 4 episode.
Yeah.
It's the one where somebody keeps putting the turkey in
So,
the toilet.
It's called Turkey in a Can.
Turkey in the can. Yeah.
Turkey in a can.
Every day, Bob
And-
wakes up and the turkey is in the toilet.
Yes,
He has
he's
to go get another turkey. The butcher thinks that he's flirting with him because he keeps coming back. Oh, you need another turkey? Yeah, I know what's up with you. Till finally he caves and says, "Let's just do it. Let's just be together."
Are we really doing this?
This episode was very good. It was the first one you assigned us.
Yes.
And I thought, this is good. He gave us 2 more. I did like the play one better than the Peck, and I still would put the play the highest, but I like this one better than the Peck one.
Yeah.
I like the twist ending,
It's
the
sweet.
mystery of it.
Yeah.
I liked the butcher.
Bob's hiding out all night long trying to catch whoever's thrown his turkeys in the toilet, and he's making plans he has alternate turkeys in the restaurant, and they end up in the toilet also. So yeah.
Like, what a twist. I was like, who's doing this? I didn't know. I was like, this better have a good answer, and it did. And I was like,
so they
I'm an
set
idiot.
up that everybody's mad at Bob for some reason, so everyone has motive to be doing this.
Yeah.
So-
Right. Nice
Yeah, I
appearance.
love, like I said, like this is a recurring thing. Every season has a Thanksgiving episode, and like this is Bob's reason for living. Like he
Yes.
loves Thanksgiving, he loves cooking that turkey, and this is like he usually talks to it like, oh, what do you think, turkey? Like so this is like his mania.
Yeah.
You know, every year we get to see some different aspect of how crazy this makes him. If Thanksgiving is perfect.
I also love anytime there's an appearance of Aunt Gail and her cat, Mr. Business.
Okay, fun's over. I want a name.
Gene! Oh, come on! You know I don't go into the bathroom at night because of the shower ghost! Ah, that's him! It's gotta be Tina!
Tina wouldn't do something this immature.
I accept your invitation to sit at the adults' table.
No, Tina.
Maybe it was me.
Was it?
No, I just started to feel left out.
I don't know, Gail. You are really weird.
That's true.
Come on, it wasn't Gail.
Is that a confession, Mom?
What? That's crazy.
Well, you aren't always the most trustworthy person, Linda.
What? Me?
Yes, you. That time you changed the channel when I was out of the room.
What are you talking about?
Oh, don't play innocent. It was Quantum Leap, and I'll never know where he leapt.
You know where he leapt.
What?
Gene, stop.
We need to get rid of the body. What if someone sees?
Stop. Oh.
So that's just a nice little added bonus to this episode. But that scene at the end when they're all huddled in the bathroom and the turkey is in the toilet for that last time, and it just cracks me up. And when it falls in the litter pan and
just keeps getting worse.
Yeah. So Bob's nightmare. So yes. So obviously my vote between the two of these is Turkey in a Can.
Yeah, that's my favorite of the three.
Yeah. Good. We came around. We got
there.
We got some.
All right. Right down through now. We're gonna run through some animation episodes here.
That was animation.
Well, I know there's more. There's more to come.
I'm just being hard to deal with. So go on.
Yeah. It's late. Next up, we have Life with Louie. Of course, this was a originally a primetime animated series on Fox.
Yeah.
Louie Anderson.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. It was a show. Yeah.
After I think after the first couple of episodes, they moved it to Saturday morning.
Yeah, I remember watching it, but I don't ever remember being on prime time.
Yeah. So, anyways, Life with Louie. Let me find the episode name of it. It is called The Fourth Thursday in November, appropriately. Season 1, episode 8. So
comedian Louie Anderson always got a ton of material talking about growing up and his mom and his family, and all his struggles and strife, as a kid. So what better way to do an animated series about him as a kid, aimed at kids? I loved this show when it was on. I kind of forgot it even existed. I would never have thought of it, off the top of my head for a list like this. But I always enjoyed it. He's funny and he does a great voice.
Yeah,
he has a very distinct delivery and voice.
And I still will say, all right.
Yeah, I too also really loved this cartoon when it came out. I thought it was just original and funny, and I like Louie. I loved him as a stand-up, and so this is simply that. It's Thanksgiving at the Anderson house, and
he has to figure out what the meaning of Thanksgiving is. That's the whole point. He's going around asking everybody what the meaning of Thanksgiving. It was like the answers aren't what you think you're going to get. It's like it's turkey. That's like
he does a great job with his dad in the series and their relationship and how they were so.
I can't. It's been a couple weeks since I watched it. Who did somebody voice the dad?
I think he did. Yeah,
was it him?
Louie did the dad.
That's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this is.
And was it a brother-in-law or somebody that flew? What did he fly a plane? I don't remember.
Yeah. His uncle flies a plane in, and he's the big hot shot of the family, and of course there's jealousy between Louie's dad and him, and they end up he takes off in his personal airplane, and then Louie's dad's hanging on to it. He's trying to bring him back to Thanksgiving, I think, and he's hanging on the windshield, and so pretty solid, sweet little piece at the end.
It was so funny.
What was the ultimate when he had to give the report? What did he say was the meaning of Thanksgiving?
Pie.
Was it pie?
Yeah, the pie was like a metaphor for something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember. I kept waiting. I was like, I hope at the end he has a good answer, and I think you're right. It wasn't a good answer.
The following Monday, I gave my oral report.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the meaning of Thanksgiving!
It was not a complete success. And so I was granted an additional 2 weeks to continue my quest for the meaning of Thanksgiving. I didn't know where else to look. After all, I'd asked my entire family. For Mom, it was pumpkin pie. For Dad, it was cutting the turkey. And for me, well, for me, I guess the meaning of Thanksgiving was that I had a family to ask. And for them, I'm thankful.
Piece of pie, Principal Halloran?
So,
What's up against?
We have King of the Hill. This was Hank's giving. This was the one where they're going to fly, I believe, to Montana to visit Peggy's family because what's the girl's name?
Luann.
Luann hasn't seen her dad since he got out of prison or something like that, and he's on leave or something, and so she's really excited, and then they forget to buy Luann's ticket, plane ticket, airline ticket, and she ends up...
He got tickets for his family.
Right. The Hill family. So Bobby Hill, Peggy Hill, and Hank Hill. So she ends up
they've
with...
got to take their own turkey because the rest of the family doesn't believe a turkey can be cooked properly with propane. Hank's got to prove them wrong.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But he's got a fully cooked turkey, right?
Yeah.
That he's going to take on an airplane in a box.
Yes.
I was like, what is happening? Like this, I was like, this is not plausible in the first place.
But it totally pays off in the end with the turkey, though. So when they blow the bomb squad blows it up.
That's what I mean. That's what I would expect to freaking happen. Like it wasn't like I was like, this has never got they weren't. I don't know, something about that irritated me from the beginning that he was attempting that. I was like, okay, well, this is going to be a freaking problem.
Well,
but you have not thought this.
I don't like this humor point.
So yeah,
there's an ice storm that eventually, basically strands the whole cast at the airport.
They all end up there. So yeah, so Dale and Nancy and John Redcorn, they're also in the at the airport, and Dale gets trapped. He goes for a smoke and he gets trapped and he can't get back in the airport. He's out in the weather stuck, and then Nancy and John are in the backseat of his pickup truck, I think.
What was the deal? I don't know anybody's name. What was the deal with the guy trying to follow him there or go with them, or which guy's friend is that?
That's
I don't know, whatever. One friend was just pretending to be going the same place they were going.
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
so
he's just kind of the sad sack of the bunch that doesn't.
Yeah.
He didn't have any other plans, so he kept making up stuff.
Yeah, rather than being alone, he wants to take him to the airport and spend as much time with him as he can. Yeah. And then, of course, he's happy when the ice storm suspends all the flights. So,
yeah.
Geez, somebody honking.
I guess.
But yeah, I mean, pretty classic. I remember watching this episode quite a few times over the years, and Hank Hill, certainly a show animation wise that I thought needs to be on the list somewhere. So.
Yeah, I never really watched this show. It irritated me. I think a lot. It just did something about the pace of it. I didn't like this. Whenever I would watch it. The pacing was off for me, and I just never could get into it. I like Beavis and Butthead.
Bill was the other friend's name. Bill.
Oh, okay.
So it took him.
It's sort of this character on Beavis and Butthead is the neighbor. I tell you what, that guy. So they kind of updated him into be a more three-dimensional character, and then this ran for many seasons. I watched it for quite a while. I didn't stick with it. It lasted.
Well, good news, it's coming back.
Oh, good.
Yes, very soon. New series. Bobby has grown, 20-some years old, and
I'll be missing that.
So, yeah. Anyways, we've got Life with Louie here, and we've got King of the Hill.
Yeah, Life with Louie.
Life with Louie, he says. Jordan?
Yeah, that was a nice surprise. It was a good remembrance of that show, and I have good memories of King of the Hill, but again, I don't know that this was the best episode. So I liked checking back in with Louie.
Okay, I concur. Louis moves on. That's kind of fun. Next we have Underdog. Seth, you want to talk about Underdog here?
Do I?
What a question.
I love Underdog. I've said that before. One of my faves, because when I watch it, I feel like I did when I was a kid watching it. Something about the theme song is just very, very, it hypes me up. I love that music. And I would get scared at the end. Not every episode had the same music, but certain ones had this end music that was very menacing, that, made the hairs stand up on my arms. And the bad guy Simon Bar Sinister, and you got Sweet Polly Purebred, and the Lois Lane of the series. And this, I don't know what season or what this was. I noticed that he never had to take his power pill. I think maybe they got rid of the steroid aspect of it. But
I was a little confused. My memory was it's all animals, but like there's only a couple dogs.
Yeah, it was
walking
not
around
all,
wearing
it
clothes,
wasn't,
but everyone
it was
else
never
is a
all
human.
animals. No.
Yeah, I didn't remember.
No. And it was a 4-parter. This was part of, I believe, the Rocky Bullwinkle and Friends show. So there would be multiple things throughout. You had to skip through to catch all 4 parts of this. But
why would you? Why wouldn't you watch Goofy Gophers?
I did watch Goofy Gophers when I did that. Watch the old guy on his adventures.
McBragg. Something about McBragg.
I mean, I remember watching this stuff when I was a kid. But the plot of this just made me laugh so much. Like Simon Barcenter's plan. Okay. This has it all. Yeah, but his plan is to he's got 3 planes, 3 tanks, and 12 army men.
The city was calm, for no one knew what was going on in the laboratory of Simon Bar Sinister.
Gee, boss, I don't understand this new plot at all.
Very simple, Cad. At precisely 2 o'clock tomorrow, my army will strike and I will be the master of the city. My 3 airplanes will take off and attack from the sky. My 3 tanks will move out to attack. My 12 infantrymen will march on the city, and I shall be master of the city.
But, boss, 3 planes, 3 tanks, 12 soldiers. You can't take over a city with a little army like that.
I can, for I have a plan.
And Sweet Polly Purebred overhears that and goes and tells the police, "Oh, watch out, Simon Bar Sinister's got 3 planes, 3 tanks, and 12 men." And they're like, they laugh her out of the building. What are you, crazy? What's he going to do with that? Like, they scoff at the idea. Like, that's nothing. Get out of here. But his plan is genius. You see, he's going to put a switch on a light pole downtown. Why there? I don't know. But he's got a switch on it. Oh, if you push one button, it's going to activate the air raid siren in town. And so all the people outside are going to hear the air raid siren. And that was the thing back in the day. There was air raid sirens, and you would, go home. They said, you'll look up, and all they'll look up and see the 3 planes and some tanks, and they will not need to see anything else. And they'll run inside. And he's like, and then I'm going to put this other button once they're in their homes, and activates the locks on everyone's doors somehow, and locks them in their houses, and then he wins, I guess. So anyway, that cracked me up.
But it's like taking over the city. Like he's I'll be in charge of the city.
Yeah. That's what he always wanted. But then what throws it off is there is the Thanksgiving Day parade. So the day he goes to do it he goes down and he can't cross the street because of the parade, so he can't get to his buttons on that pole, which is like, why'd you put him down there? I don't know, but he can't get across the street. So obviously, what he has to do is go back to his time bomb safe and to open up a safe and get a time bomb out, and which looks like a clock strapped to dynamite, like any other bomb. But this is a time bomb, and he has set it for 1620, and he's going to go back in time and change the past. So there is no Thanksgiving Day parade, and now he'll be able to cross the street. I was like, I love this. Everything about it. I'm all in. We got time travel through explosions. and it just craziness ensues from there. Sweet Polly Purebred has to tell Underdog they have to go back in time with a time bomb also. They all have to like deal with the Pilgrims and the Indians, and the Bar Sinister's doing things to screw up both the Pilgrims and the Indians and get them mad at each other. Underdog's fixing all those problems. Meanwhile, they're just playing really willy-nilly with the time rules. Like, the people are standing watching the parade, and then the parade disappears. I don't think that's how that would work.
Yeah, why are you all lined up still?
I don't know if they ever threw it. Maybe they did at one point mention, because I was like, how are you getting back here? You had to have another time bomb to time bomb yourself back here. I don't know. I thought it was great because it was so silly just to cross the street. He finally got out in the road, and then the parade reappeared and smashed them in the road, and Underdog wins again.
It was
at the parade.
Very complicated.
It was great. Time travel.
One of your favorite heroes and time travel.
Come on.
No
and
kidding,
Thanksgiving.
This has to be a winner. So I looked it up. This premiered in 1964, the same year Bewitched premiered. So these are probably our two oldest ones.
Both at Thanksgiving, I'm sure. So.
And that would win my most problematic, being from 1964.
Well,
Portrayal of the natives.
Which for the Gophers?
The
Indians.
Gophers.
Yeah, in that cartoon also were pretty sketch.
Yeah, the language that I won't attempt to do the language that they were. Yeah, but it was 1964. It was no harm meant.
No.
Okay, so
speaking of offensive,
yes, what a matchup. We're at South Park, Black Friday, season 17, episode 7,
8 and 9.
Yeah,
it's a 3-parter.
Are you counting the whole trilogy here?
I didn't know what you guys wanted to do there, so I just kind of left it open.
I watched all 3.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously made when Game of Thrones was a huge happening at the moment. The kids all kind of mock and dress up as similar characters and parody.
They did a good job too. It was funny. Mm-hmm. They'd meet in the garden, out in that guy's garden behind his house. He's like, "What are you doing back there?"
I remembered that joke from all these years ago. That always made me laugh. And every time that happened on these episodes, like,
yeah,
what? Quit using my garden for your betrayals.
There's Cartman back there, basically being like Varys or whatever.
Yeah,
walking around scheming and.
Yeah. So the kids are.
This is what this show always does, where the kids are playing.
Yeah.
And but it always gets way overboard. It gets the adults get involved, and craziness happens. So it all kind of starts as innocent, like, oh, we're just playing Game of Thrones, and then the stakes always go crazy.
Right. They're trying to decide whether they're going to be, and this is a thing. I thought this was a good idea because at one time things were not cross-platform, and you had to decide whether you and your friends were going to be Xbox or PlayStation if you wanted to play together. And so this is actual. My friends went PlayStation, and many people went Xbox, and so it was to kids I felt like that was a perfect issue. Like this was a very important issue that maybe they didn't have a lot of say in, but they could influence, and I thought that was clever.
And the reason,
I love the little they'd be doing Game of Thrones type language. It's like, but we must go for seamless integration of the they put all these little buzzwords in from the video.
Yeah.
The reason they were fighting over PlayStation or Xbox is because the new consoles were going to be like 80% off on Black Friday to the first 30 people through the door of the mall or whatever. And Stan's dad, right? He takes on a job as a mall security and
to be on the inside.
So plotting so he can get in there first and get that big sale price.
That's genius. That's a great, that's like a very, some conniving thing a Game of Thrones character would do. The first episode was a song of ass and fire. I don't remember the second. It concluded with titties and dragons. That episode, but I like Cartman's plot was instead of the Red Wedding, they had the Red Robin Wedding. So the Red Robin was connected to the mall, so they were able to get in by having a birthday party that day on Black Friday. So they were in there and could possibly get in the store faster, in the mall faster. I was like,
Tom Hanks was marrying Beyonce.
Anyway, it was.
Well, I'll tell you, I cannot hear the Game of Thrones theme song without hearing this version of it.
Yeah.
When I hear the instrumentals, I hear George R.R. Martin's.
I like it. It's really good. Obviously my vote is underdog because I don't know. It's more Thanksgiving than Black Friday. So that's my pitch.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm more about the time travel and not being able to get across the street and all that. That was amazing. But and it's underdog, but my pitch is it's more Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I don't have a big preference here. I think they're both they're well done in what they are. The underdog stuff, I don't know. I mean, I certainly watched many old cartoons back in the day, especially early in the morning before school. When I was very young, that's when they kind of ran that stuff or even before that, when you had to get up early and get ready to go to grandma's house or whatever. So I certainly have some nostalgia for that era of cartoons and just the silliness, and that's what they were cartoons. They were just meant for kids for the most part, and they were silly and didn't have great stakes or anything like that. Because I
felt like the stakes were high. This is whether there's going to be Thanksgiving in history or not.
Yeah, but of course South Park has it's another one of those animated shows that is in season, God knows whatever, 25 or 6 or 7 or I don't know. It's been around for.
I think it premiered maybe my junior year in high school.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's still relevant somehow. And, I, as a retail veteran, from years past, I dreaded Thanksgiving and Black Friday for so many years because I barely got to experience it. And, I just worked so much, those 2 days. And so Black Friday was a nightmare.
I used to go get up early and go. I'd go over to Toys R Us before I'd go to work at Chi-Chi's.
Yeah.
And And I dreaded that because freaking 11 o'clock, it was just all day.
Yeah.
They were killed, crushed right there in front of them all, just caught tons of business.
Yeah, it was it was a nightmare. And so yeah, I think you certainly you get a different perspective when you've been on that side of it. It was always an odd thing because I was the only one in my family that had to do that.
It's so great to like literally getting out of that side of it. Like as soon as I was working, until I got for 15 years or whatever, I kind of dreaded Thanksgiving because of that.
Yeah,
because you always had to work Black Friday and it sucked. And it's a totally different. The whole holiday has turned around for me.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I'm so thankful for being away from that now and having opportunity where I can just relax and enjoy it.
So do you like the fun lightness of an underdog, or do you like the dark humor of a South Park?
Yeah, I don't know.
5-year-old.
I think I still have some trauma from Black Friday. Gosh.
I'm gonna say South Park, so I'm gonna make you decide.
I had a feeling you were. And it's 3-part. I mean, there's a lot to consume there in 3 parts.
4 parts.
4 parts.
Underdog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. It's not as long.
But it was like it only came to like 20 some minutes total.
Yeah. So it's a quick YouTube watch. I am, Underdog has been on many of our lists throughout the years. Seth loves Underdog. He's talked about it a lot. His love for the character in the series and how much it scares him at the end of when they play that theme.
It does scare.
I'm gonna for once I'm gonna say Underdog, just for my love of classic cartoons.
What's up, dog?
It had time bombs. What more do you want? 2 words, time bomb. What a genius contraption. I don't know how you don't die.
A literal bomb that explodes that sends you back in time.
Okay. That brings us to
more cartoons.
One of my favorite cartoons, right? This was probably the second thing I thought of when I had the idea for the list. It's Garfield's Thanksgiving.
Good morning, Garfield. Sleep well? Well, aren't we nasty today? Save your energy, Garfield. Nothing you do can spoil my good mood. It's Thanksgiving, and I have a dinner date with a dreamboat. Oh, which reminds me, she'll be here in about 3 hours, so I better get the old turkey out of the freezer. Gonna fix dinner for the girl I love. Okay, first we start with the bird. Let's see here. Remove bird from freezer at least 24 hours before cooking. Well, I'm sure that's just a minor technicality.
Yum, yum. Turkey on a stick.
Remove giblets from cavity and stuff with 1 cup of prepared stuffing. Oh, well, you can't believe everything you read.
I can hardly bear to watch.
Place in roasting pan, breast side up. Rub skin with butter. Well, I don't see what good that'll do, but okay. Cover with foil and roast at 325 degrees for 5.5 hours. I guess I'll just have to speed things up a bit. 500 degrees. That was easy. Okay, now for the vegetables. Let's see, corn, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, turnips, squash.
Be still my beating heart.
Add water and done. To hear Mom and Grandma talk, I always thought preparing a Thanksgiving meal was tough. I'll get back to this later. I'd better spruce myself up.
This was a TV special. I think in '88 came out. So at this time, Garfield, of course, was huge. He had his own cartoon that was on Saturday mornings. This was kind of an expansion of that. But yeah, it was a TV special that, man, I watched growing up every year. Didn't miss it. It was, I don't want to say it was like Rudolph, but it was appointment television in the same way Rudolph was at Christmas. So, you guys familiar?
I know I had seen it before. I remember. I'm positive that I had seen it. Maybe once or twice, but I definitely didn't watch it every year around.
Yeah, I'm much more familiar with the Christmas one where they go to the farm.
Sure.
I know I watched that a million times, and like I said, I've seen this one, but it wasn't a huge tradition or anything.
Okay. So yeah, they John and he's.
I mean, it's quintessential Garfield.
It is. Yeah.
It's what Garfield's supposed to be.
It hits the point.
And John Arbuckle, it is nothing but it's straight up Garfield. Like, I like that simplicity of it. I like how much it felt like the comic strip. Like that was a big thing for me. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the Garfield episode.
Cool. Yeah. Of course, John's always trying to get a date, and
probably needs to be Me Too'd because he was very much a pest in this episode.
Yeah. I kind of felt like Grandma.
Yeah, 100%. He needed to take no for an answer.
Yeah.
You're being a little too persistent, but I as always in the Christmas special too, Grandma Arbuckle comes to save the day and cook the dinner, and she, it's just.
Right, he had a frozen turkey as well, but she saved it by chopping it up.
With a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Grandma's got a chainsaw. What else do you want? So, okay, so it is, let's see. Garfield's Thanksgiving is up against The Simpsons. This is the Bart versus Thanksgiving episode, I believe, from season 1. Season 2, I'm sorry. Season 2, episode 7. Yeah. So I didn't saw it on a bunch of lists. Didn't immediately remember it. And then once I watched it, I was like, oh yes, I remember this. So Lisa has built a centerpiece, a very dramatic and detailed centerpiece for the Thanksgiving table, and Bart ends up wrecking it, and it goes into the fireplace and burns up, and of course the whole family is mad at Bart. So Bart runs away, and it has kind of a sweet little ending where Lisa kind of, he sees. For once, he starts to understand what the consequences of his actions and how they make other people feel, and how they're affected by that. So, nice little Bart and Lisa, coming together, brother-sister moment at the end.
So this is very early in the run. The animation's still a little sketchy. But it's quintessential, Homer being a dummy and he's hungry, Bart being the bad kid, Lisa, the overachiever. Like, it had all that stuff there from the beginning, but it was a little bit of whiplash of how kind of slowly paced it was and leisurely almost. Like The Simpsons became joke. Like, jokes are in the background. There's work, like the it's so snappy, like, in the best era of The Simpsons, it was just breakneck speed of, stuff happening. And this was just so slow. It was like, wow, I forgot Simpsons used to be like this. So yeah, I couldn't think of any other episode. I'm sure there are other the show's been on for 35 years. I'm sure there's some other Thanksgiving episodes, but I couldn't think of any iconic ones off the top of my head. So this one, definitely deserves to be on the list, but Simpsons definitely got better after season 2.
Sure. Yeah.
Got terrible because everyone hates it. It's been bad for the last 25 years or whatever people have agreed on.
Yeah. Very early Simpsons, before Homer kind of became more the central character. It was definitely Bart at that time. He was still the breakout star. So. Any other thoughts?
Two very merchandised. There were Garfield stuck in everybody's window of their car. Everybody had the Bart Simpson T-shirts and stuff. So these are very popular properties going against each other.
I will just say my vote's Garfield. Garfield's Thanksgiving. I have more nostalgia for it, of course. Like I said,
I did not like the Simpsons episode. I couldn't. I mean, when you watch 70 or 80 Thanksgiving episodes, there's going to be one or two that you just can't get into, and I was just sitting there like half paying attention to it. It, like you said, that pace was not working for me. Something was off, and I just, I like the Garfield way better.
Okay.
I love Simpsons, and
I do.
I'm the only one of the three of us who still watches Simpsons on any kind of regular basis. But this was not a great episode. So Garfield is perfect choice.
Okay. Next matchup is going to be not animated. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. This was the one the gang squashes all the beefs. So a later season, after they've developed all this history with people around town and in the neighborhood, and they all hate each other. And
So if you were just going to watch one episode of Sunny to get a taste for it, you've never seen anyone else. This is literally the worst single episode.
Which is what I did.
Have either of you watched any Sunny at all?
No.
I have, yes.
Okay.
I've seen a clip or two.
Yeah, I've watched several episodes. My daughter loves the show. She discovered it and kind of went on a marathon for a while and ran through the whole series. So I've watched a bit of it, yeah.
This actually is two really good shows to go up against each other because I have similar experience with both of them, where I've only seen clips, maybe have watched part of an episode.
Mm-hmm.
This is the throw Jordan a bone part of the bracket.
Yeah, and you have to go against each other. I know what you're saying there about how this like a bunch of callbacks and everything, and how it does. If it was what you would want to present as this show to get anybody to see what people would like in it, this probably wasn't it. But I will say, having not really had experience with this show, I watched the whole episode, which I knew what the show was, but I mean, I was surprised by nothing. And except that I liked it. I liked everybody. None of the, I mean, I'm sure it would be richer if I knew all these backstories, but I felt like they got their point across with them. So I did like all of that stuff. I thought it was really good. And I thought, hey, this is probably a pretty good show. I'm not going to go back and watch 8 million episodes, but I thought, I probably missed out because I really liked everything about this. So surprise.
Good to hear. And that was my big wonder of like, would this make any sense to anybody that didn't know what was going on? So
yeah, I think they did a good job. Like as far as, especially for having to be like, that's the one that I watched.
Yeah.
You know, I still, it all came through everything they were trying to do with those previous characters. I didn't feel like I didn't get the point of each character and what was going on. That was funny. I thought everybody was good.
This is now the longest running non-animated comedy in TV history. But each season is only like, some seasons are only 8 episodes. And so like there's not 1,000 episodes or anything. It's been on for ages, but it's still a manageable number of episodes.
Okay.
Like 2 episodes either before or after this is the gang desperately tries to win an award, which is one of the best episodes they ever did. So
to do what?
The gang desperately tries to win an award.
Oh, okay.
It's one of the best episodes. So this season, again, we're on season 9. It's like, this show, you think like, it used to be better in the old days. And now this is 10 years ago now. This is like when season 9 premiered, it's like, that show used to be better. And now we're a decade past that. We're like, that show used to be, season 9 was amazing.
Yeah.
So this was the show. Very, very dark humor. about some very terrible human beings who own a dirtbag bar in Philadelphia. They're the worst people in Philadelphia. And when it first kicked off, like, so many critics described that as, it's like Seinfeld on crack. Like, that was the pithy, it's a bunch of, amoral people who are in their own little bubble. So this show took that, and like that next season, they actually got addicted to crack. Like they do things Seinfeld could never do. So it just this episode ends with them basically burning everyone they know alive.
Yeah, locking him in the apartment and just burning. So it's like, oh shit, well, this is all we can do.
So this calls back to so many other characters and recurring things, and so yeah, if you've watched the whole series, it's definitely a lot more to it. But yeah, everyone they come across, their lives are worse for it, and the gang never suffers any consequences. They never learn anything. Nothing ever happens. So that's basically the Cricket character, the homeless guy.
Yeah,
he started out as a priest who had a crush on Dee in high school, but went into the priesthood and gets back into their lives. And they, over the season, something. So he's almost like, he takes the abuse the gang deserves. So by this point, he's missing an eye, he's scarred up, he's homeless, he's drug addicted, he's terrible. So yeah, not your typical cheery Thanksgiving episode, but this one was basically them looking back. Like they've caused so many fights and have so much beef all over town. They want to squash the beefs, so they invite all their enemies to dinner. To sign a contract to say the beef has been spawned, but not actually
burn them to death in their apartment.
And then a fire starts, and they just leave.
They just walk.
And that was the season finale.
Yeah,
that was how the season
I looked.
ended.
I said that was it. That was it.
Yeah, pretty funny. Charlie Day he cracks me up in anything he does, and Danny DeVito in this show is just he's so nuts that. We watched the other day the episode where they're trying to beat the Wade Boggs beers on a plane record. It's just ridiculous. So.
All right, what were we up against? It's Always Sunny versus.
We've got Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The episode was called Pangs. Season 4, episode 8. Buffy and the Scooby Gang face Native American spirits over Thanksgiving. So
can I just say that I never really watched this show. I mean, I maybe watched an episode back in the day, but I don't remember. I remember scenes or whatever randomly. I know it is so, people love the show, but I just think it's awful. Like, I did not like this at all. Except when Sarah Michelle Gellar wore the little black cowboy hat. That was hot. There's a lot of syphilis talk. I especially, really what turns me off from the show is I hate David Boreanaz or whatever his name is. Like, I've never see him on screen that I am not the most bored person ever. I think he's terrible in everything he's ever done. If you say the word bones, I like gag. I don't.
So you're definitely
Angel
team Spike rather than Team Angel.
I don't even like Spike. I don't like
shipping. You would never ship Buffy.
No, I see Spike and I think, oh, that's that show I don't like. Like I don't. It's dark. It's so every scene is so dark and like I don't know. It just does not do it for me. It feels. It's weird. It did have some weird stuff that, I mean, it was honestly, it just wasn't Riverdale enough. Like, it was very Riverdale-ish. The girl that's just like, whatever her deal is, I'm sure she is a demon or was a demon or whatever, where she just talks like a android. She's just, oh, I want to watch him dig and then have sex with him. And, I'm just like, all right. And then syphilis, whatever. Please tell me what I'm missing.
I mean, again, I'm not going to try to change your mind, but this is of an era where the budgets weren't huge. We're on what were we on, the WB network
Yeah.
and the UPN network, so it was never a huge flashy show. The makeup and the effects were never the best, but I thought I had so much heart. The writing is super snappy. Again, this would not be the first episode I ever would recommend to anyone to watch.
I believe
definitely.
that. This one didn't pull it off.
But I love this show. I have not rewatched it in a long time. Jared and Valerie, my brother and sister-in-law, rewatched it several times. Like they've watched it with their kids. And he assures me it holds up. He's like, but I have this worry in the back of my head that I wouldn't like it if I watched it a second time.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it's still one of my top 10 of all time. I love this show. It's Monster of the Week. There's always crazy supernatural stuff going on, but it's all grounded as a metaphor. High school as hell. It's every episode they're going through something, to their teenage years and growing up and dealing with other people and having your first love and your first this, that, and the other. So it's very metaphorical in that way. And I said people always lump it in with other shows like that, like Supernatural, Charmed, all those kind of shows in the wake of this. And to me, it's so much better than those. And I love the way people evolve. So this is the 4th season. They're all in college. It's not Riverdale. They're not going to be in high school when they're in their 30s. They're in college when they're in their 30s. So
we have a time jump.
Yeah, this show grows and changes, and the characters change along with it. So at this point, Angel had spun off into his own show. So he had left Riverdale. So this is the episode he came back. So it had kind of tied in with the Angel series as well. So I love this show.
Was that a Freudian slip?
It was.
What did I say?
He had left Riverdale.
Sunnydale. Yeah. He had big fun in Los Angeles. So yeah, I love this show.
I totally
American
believe you.
Spirits.
I laid it on a little thick. Like there was sparks of life in it. I did so Spike couldn't. He obviously is a vampire. Really.
That storyline with the stupid.
He
Riley
can't hurt
and the
people.
Soldier Boys and the.
Yeah,
lab.
I don't know what's going on. The guys that's like the guy Soldier Boys again. That was stupid, and the I don't even know what's going on with Willow. What's Willow's deal? What is she?
She has not come out of the closet yet. I don't think so.
Okay.
So she had a crush on Xander her whole life, and he started dating Anya the demon.
Okay.
So I think she was just kind of going to college trying to find herself at this point.
But she's not any powers or anything, or what is she?
She's like learning witchcraft and becoming a Wiccan. But not yet.
Because I don't know anything about anything, I did as much as I set trash on Angel or whatever. Like I don't know anything about it, but I've always hated it. I just think he's boring, and I'm like, oh my god, they spun that guy off into a show. Like
this show's great too.
I was like, ugh. But I see what they're doing there with it. Oh, they don't even want them to see each other and all that. I'm like, okay, they're, that's a storyline I could see some life in, but I don't know. I haven't seen enough to like it, and I never will.
I don't want to trash the show. I will just say I don't have an issue with any of that. Roping it in with other shows or anything like that. The problem is I rope it in with a movie called Buffy the Vampire Slayer that I saw first with Christy Swanson and Paul Rubens and Rutger Hauer and Luke Perry, Senior Archie himself, if you want to connect Riverdale.
Now you're talking.
Which was a silly and fun movie, and I didn't understand the show when it came out, how it was different and probably more loyal to whatever the original story or whatever, because that's what Hollywood tends to do. I didn't understand.
Is this from a different source material? Like, what is the source material?
I assumed as much. It was a book,
or is it just
the movie? Yeah, the movie. Like Joss Whedon, I think he wanted to basically do this sort of show as the movie, and then
was the movie the source material?
Yeah, the movie came first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
knew it came first, but I didn't know whether it was based off of something.
I assumed it was a book.
Guessing he wanted to do it more female empowerment, what the show became, and then I'm guessing studio executives are like, no, this just needs to be a silly comedy.
Yeah, I don't know why Allison Hannigan is so bad in this episode, but she was so bad. I didn't expect it. I was like, why are you terrible? I've seen you in other stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was fine. There's some actiony stuff in there that I thought was fine. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Smallville, maybe. The action sequence.
Yeah, that's on par with that.
Like, I didn't like that show either.
And I did like Smallville. I admittedly so. So yeah, I didn't hate it or anything. It was just it was you want to talk about a different take on Thanksgiving, then this show was probably it for me compared to the other ones we've talked about tonight. But yeah, it was fine.
What was the Thanksgiving? I don't even remember what Thanksgiving was in this episode.
The spirits of the Native Americans are freed, and they're trying to get revenge.
Oh yeah,
as Buffy's trying to cook dinner for
and
Thanksgiving.
syphilis.
Sort of thing. Yeah. But I liked all that. Of like, when that happened, I'm like, oh no. But then they had these debates, like, what are we supposed to? These are demons. Our job is to kill monsters.
Yeah.
Like, but they have a point. Like, they didn't deserve what they got. It's like, well, what are we supposed to do with them? Like, so that was a good sort of like, reckoning. How do we reckon with the past? What are we supposed to do to change things?
Right. So yeah, in that aspect, it was fine.
Okay.
But okay.
Always Sunny.
I'm interested. Jordan, what do you pick between these two?
Again, I said neither of these are the first episode I'd show anybody,
Right.
but I would go with Sunny too. It's an easily more accessible,
more digestible.
comedy.
Yeah, indeed. So, okay. All right, last one in this round. We have the Berenstain Bears, Big Paw. So,
I thought, Big Paw. I bet Jordan's liking this.
I do like, we've added cryptids to Christmas with Rudolph. We have the Bumble. So it's like, Thanksgiving's got its own cryptid now. All right.
Well, what do you think of Big Paw?
I thought that song was a banger. Big Paw, boom, boom, boom. Like that bass line. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it was a cute little thing. It wasn't anything I remembered. I'm sure I'd watched it as a little kid, but I didn't have any memory of it and saw it on a whole bunch of things. I thought, well, that's a fun addition. We're doing a bunch of animation on this bracket, so yeah, I didn't have anything in particular to say about it. I just thought it was kind of fun and cute.
It's based on the line of storybooks by the Berenstains. They talk in rhyme.
Berenstain, I guess. Or not.
Depending on your Mandela effect.
Right.
I definitely have lived that Mandela effect. I always thought it was Berenstain.
Yeah, I did too.
I still kind of feel like it was.
that was a different dimension. We're in a different dimension now.
Yeah.
So all these storybooks and cartoons were, we learned a lesson. We learned to share. We learned to, be kind to your neighbors or whatever. But this one was a little weird of like, strangers are cool. Like, why? Don't be afraid of strangers. Invite them in, no matter how scary they are. Don't worry about strangers. So that was a kind of a weird takeaway to this episode.
Hey, man, it was the 70s or 80s or whatever, man.
Yeah, I think it was the 70s when this was made. So
well,
I
believe it.
Gave me that vibe.
Yeah, I mean, that's when I would have been reading Berenstain Bears.
Sure. Did you
versus Care Bears?
Yeah, did you guys watch Care Bears?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you told us we had to watch it. You put it on the thing.
Rub that in.
We put some stuff on there too.
Hey, I had a cutoff. 56 seemed like a lot. So Yeah,
the later in the night gets, it seems like so much.
It really does. It is late.
So I have a vague notion of what the Care Bears were, but I don't. Those were more the girl toys, because everything had to be very segregated in the 80s. So I know the basics, Care Bear stare, and they all had different things on their bellies, and
I know I had watched I've seen the Care Bear movie that came out in like 1985, the theatrical release. So that was about the extent, other than, I remember Care Bears or whatever. But we sat down to watch this the other night and watched it with my wife. And of course, she had a lot of nostalgia that she normally doesn't have. And for her it's like she thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was kind of fun for me to see that. Because I hadn't watched it. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know who Sour Sam was. I love Sour Sam.
Free pies for Thanksgiving. Why, that's a wonderful gesture, Mr.
Sour Sam. You've never tasted a pie like this, Mr. Mayor.
Awful. Everything is awful. Out of my way. Move.
I knew you'd like it, Mr. Mayor.
Like, he was a great villain.
He says Simon Bar Sinister with his plots, but
I'll take
baking pies and leaving them on the ground for people to find and eat. I mean, that's a pretty good master plan.
I love it.
To make you crabby.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It kind of was like, man, maybe I was missing something back in the 80s that I didn't know about, because it was girl stuff. But yeah, it was super fun for us. Like I said, I really enjoyed watching it with her, and like she, like it was so funny because I know the feeling. But when that theme song hit, and she hadn't heard it in 20 years, and she was like, she knew every word. And was just like, I was like, oh crap, yeah, like, okay, they had a thing too, like, like it hits the same for them as G.I. Joe does for us. So it was very cool. I enjoyed it. Had a good time.
Next toy show, she's gonna be digging through the Care Bear.
You know it. Actually, that's kind of already happened. She went with me to the Great Ohio Toy Show one time, and she, a lady had an original, the plush Care Bears, whatever size they were, the big ones, had a Kmart displayer that still worked and talked, and you pushed a button and the Care Bears talked to each other and stuff, and wanted like $400 for it. My wife was like, this is the coolest thing I've seen all day. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, I liked it.
So we had another cool grandma in this episode, drove motorcycles and
Grandbear
danced to rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm, that was just my experience with it. I don't know plot wise. Big Paw, Care Bears, they're all bears.
Wow. Yeah, this was the other episode that I could barely pay attention to, or I just I wasn't having it. I made it through, I think.
Yeah.
And then, so that's a no on the Care Bears for me.
Yeah, I would go Berenstain just because of the Big Paw.
Big Paw. I would vote for Care Bears, but that's okay. They made the list. Okay, so yes. Next up, moving on, next round. Life with Louie versus Underdog. Does Underdog make it past Louie Anderson?
I'm voting Underdog. You guys figure out, do whatever you're going to do. I liked Life with Louie.
Yeah,
I felt it was a very pleasant thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I already love Underdog, and I thought it was just freaking crazy, and I enjoyed it. So
sure.
I don't know that I can go any further.
Time bomb.
Jordan says Life with Louie.
I say Louie.
Louie. I am inclined to agree. I will take Louie.
Don't listen to him, people. Go watch Underdog.
Yeah, go watch it. Absolutely.
You'll remember that a lot more in life.
Watch
than
all
really.
these.
Yes.
You got a long Thanksgiving weekend.
No. Don't watch all these. I just did it.
Okay. Garfield's Thanksgiving versus It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Does the gang have a beef with Garfield? We don't know.
I'm sure they would.
They do right now.
But they hate Mondays too.
I will vote Garfield.
Garfield.
All right. And then we have Big Paw and the Berenstain Bears. Going up against a newcomer to the bracket. A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, guys.
Peppermint Patty's invited herself, Marcy, and Franklin over for Thanksgiving dinner.
Don't you know anything about Thanksgiving dinners?
Thanksgiving is more than eating. We should just be thankful for being together.
No immediate. Is this Charlie Brown? Is it up there with certainly not maybe the Christmas special, but perhaps the Big Pumpkin.
One, I remember the Thanksgiving one, watching it or the Halloween one every year, the Christmas one every year. But I know the Thanksgiving one, but I don't remember it being as big as those other two. Still, very iconic. It's huge, but it's not quite to the par of its holiday neighbors.
Sure. So
rewatching it, not a whole lot even happened.
Not a lot. They Charlie Brown gets nominated to make Thanksgiving dinner, but all they know how to make is like popcorn and pancakes or cereal, cold cereal, popcorn and
toast.
Yes,
a lot of toast.
A lot of toast. Made a lot of toast. So yeah. So no special feelings with Charlie Brown on this time.
I mean, obviously it's nice. It's a good plot as far as figuring out how to again have the kids not with parents doing a major holiday. Right. Like we're doing this before Thanksgiving. We're going to do this Thanksgiving because Peppermint Patty invited herself and guests, and Chuck's going out his way to make it happen, and Snoopy's helping, doing all that. So all the kids can get together and do this, and without any parents being there and stuff. But again, not a lot happens. It's the least of the Charlie Brown holiday special.
Gotcha. So so Big Paw or Charlie Brown and his Thanksgiving crew, popcorn and jelly beans.
I still would probably go Charlie Brown. Even
I agree.
Just for nostalgia's
table, the
sake.
ping pong table with all the lawn chairs sitting around it, that's such an iconic vision.
Right. Okay, we've got Bob's Burgers, Turkey in a Can, versus Life with Louie.
Bob.
What do you say?
He says Bob.
What do you say?
Bob Burger. I agree. Bob Burger.
Yeah. Not even close. Louis shouldn't have been here. Should have been underdog. Might have had a discussion.
Garfield versus Charlie Brown. That's a fun matchup there.
A little more
classic.
Contemplative. I thought it was weird that Woodstock ate a turkey. Like joyfully. He was like dancing and clinking his silverware together like he was having a ball eating a fellow bird. Snoopy wrestling the lawn chairs. The toast, jumping out of the toaster, wiping on the butter. It's it's nice. It's nice. Like I said, this is almost quintessential Garfield. You know, a holiday about eating. I mean, that's Garfield.
True. Yeah, if it comes down to, I guess, me picking like which one am I going to watch, I've got two choices here. Am I going to watch Garfield or Charlie Brown with my kids? Personally, I'm going to go with Garfield.
What'd you say, Jordan?
I haven't said anything yet.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Could we knock off one of the top seeds of Charlie Brown with an upset, nay, an underdog like Garfield?
No, don't mess with me. I'm an exposed wound right now.
I don't know. I don't think people would riot and rage against us if we knock off Charlie Brown.
Yeah,
we have nostalgia for it. We appreciate it, but
we've got all those new YouTube viewers that I don't want to piss them off, but they need to.
Now's the time.
Yeah, they'll soon find out what this podcast is all about. So,
okay, sounds like
going to go
pick Garfield.
Garfield, okay. Puts us with Bob's Burgers. It's very late. Turkey in a Can, Turkey in the Can, whatever you want to call it, versus Garfield's Thanksgiving.
Feel like you guys are going to say Bob, so I'm going to make a last-ditch plea for Garfield here. Sure. Just a couple details from that episode I've been holding back that I remember liking. I liked the agency of the girlfriend, that she came over, and she listened to his history lesson and said she'd be back next year. After the lesson, before dinner, saying like, no more mansplaining me. But she was very appreciative of the nice time she had. And my absolute favorite scene in the cartoon is when the scale says he's Orson Welles, and then keeps calling him that, and he hates it, and then finally he smashes the scale and it says Rosebud. That is a joke for
that's an adult
me.
Joke. Yeah,
that's a joke for me. And I was like, yeah, it needed that scene in there. It is like, just get it. I enjoyed both of these.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as a, I'm looking for a classic episode. I'm not above putting a new thing in there, but it's a new thing versus an old thing, and this is a good old thing. This is one of the best old things we've talked about. Charlie Brown is nostalgic, but that's not a great episode. This isn't a fantastic episode, but it's solid. And it is a good example of Garfield, and it's a good example of a holiday show. So I'm picking Garfield.
Okay.
I could see Cliff going Garfield. I could see him being persuadable.
Yeah.
He's not giving. He's got a poker face. He's got
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. He put 3 Bob Burgers episodes on this thing. I think that was a tell.
I try to be.
Wikipedia.org.
Wow.
A towel is a piece of absorbent cloth or paper used for drying or wiping a surface.
That's a tell. That's a tell. Also means what's a towel? What's a towel?
So yeah, I certainly love Bob's Burgers, and I love this particular episode is one of my favorites. The pure chaos at the end of everybody stuffed into that little bathroom surrounded by the turkey in the toilet just cracks me up to no end. But man, Garfield's Thanksgiving that's one of those childhood things for me that just absolute staple. Absolute staple.
Let's get nuts then. Let's say Garfield.
Okay. I can live with it. Sure. Not feel bad at all.
Okay.
All right.
3/4 of the way there.
3/4, baby.
Is it Thanksgiving yet? Is the turkey thawed?
Did that popper pop out yet?
Oh my God. So, okay. Last quarter of the bracket. Here
Last
we go.
quarter, we're also behind the scenes. We've added 3 more shows to this last quarter.
Now this is the section I have not seen. There's several of these I haven't seen. So
Wow.
Okay.
this is the worst section of this.
So if this was you're watching a football game on Thanksgiving, this is the 4th quarter.
Yes.
What are we doing? What's up?
We're doing the rest of this bracket. That's what we're doing. So, you guys are gonna have to help me out. I did not watch a few of these episodes. I'll try and pitch in because I know Jordan.
I watched them all.
So, we'll just start right here. We've got The League. I don't have the name of the episode. Probably something Thanksgiving.
I think it was just Thanksgiving.
Okay, works out great. Versus Modern Family, and that was 3 turkeys. What's the episode there?
Modern Family is season 6, episode 8.
There we go.
I watched like 3 Modern Family episodes of.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't the best one, but
this was the one with 3 turkeys.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but there was other ones. There was one pumpkin chunkin'.
Okay.
Where they're Cam's tall tale about shooting a pumpkin with a slingshot the length of a football field.
Oh.
We've already added 3 shows.
Yeah.
We're not on the bracket.
No.
I do remember.
Then there was another one where they played football
Mm-hmm.
for the 15th year, even though we'd never seen it on any other episodes. It was the 15th anniversary football game.
Yeah. I like the 3. Anyways, tell me about The League. I don't know anything about The League. I don't know what it is.
Oh my gosh. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia for me.
Not as good.
No, it's great. But it came out right at the beginnings, the height really of fantasy football. So they made a show on FX of people standing in a semicircle talking about fantasy football barely, and mostly about all their hijinks and stuff. It's dark, just like Always Sunny. Not as dark, I'm sure, but it was. They were always doing things they shouldn't be doing. There's a lot of
they cooked a
sex
guinea
jokes.
pig, so that's not too far.
Yeah, it's what was a Turginian or something like that. But yeah, and Nick Kroll, Mark Duplass, what's his name, the bald guy. I need to pull it up here, so let's just see. Yeah, Paul Scheer. Yeah. And Katie Aselton is Mark Duplass's wife in real life, and she plays another character's wife on there. But it's just, I thought it was a really funny show. Watch the whole thing. They just, they do a little bit of fantasy football talk, but mostly it's about all their hijinks and that. What in this one, it was Nick Kroll's father shows up. Nick Kroll's like call him Ruxin, and he's just gross, and and he's planning on staying. He has Thanksgiving by himself. His wife's going to visit family or something, so he's gonna stay home and try to whack off as many times as he can. And but his dad shows up with the same plan, thinking he's not going to be there. He was going to come stay at his son's house, and the dad is Jeff Goldblum, and they act very much alike in the episode.
Yeah, a great casting. Like they even make the same facial expressions and stuff. So it's very funny to watch them two together.
Right. Honestly, it's been a couple weeks since I watched it. I can't remember what the other plot lines were Yeah, they had a
There's
guinea
a
pig.
wager on. They're trying to get in shape, lose weight.
Oh, yeah.
So they're all exercising so you can lose the most weight before Thanksgiving.
Oh, and Sarah Silverman is on there. She's a sister. She's Andre's sister. And apparently she all taught, when these guys were younger, they all had slept with her, and she basically taught them everything they know. And they make fun of Andre, because even he learned through them how, from his sister, how to have sex and stuff. And it's a funny show. Like, I don't know. I liked
It's
it.
very well written. It's very sharp, and it brings a lot of some little reference at the beginning will pay off later at the end. So it's always really well structured and made, and the acting is good.
So we got it up against Modern Family, like we said. This was an episode, like many of them, that had multiple storylines that all kind of weaved together. This Thanksgiving, if I remember correctly, it was like the three families had decided to have separate experiences for a change, because they do everything together, and then so they're all making individual turkeys, more or less. Phil is cooking a turkey. Claire has prepared a backup turkey in the garage because she fully expects Phil to screw it up. And then Jay and Gloria do a video chat with the family and say that they're going to Mexico, and in reality they're planning on staying home, and Jay's got a small bird for just their family. And I'm not sure, I'm trying to remember how Mitch and Cam, how they roped into it, what their plans were, but basically the electricity goes out, I think, at the Pritchett's, and so they decide they're going to go over to Jay and Gloria since they're not home to finish the turkey, but Jay and Gloria are there, and they're trying to hide from them and then pretend like their flight got canceled and come back, and then there's a whole thing with the turkeys, and
and they go. I know that they go. Phil goes in the garage and finds his real head scratcher TM.
Yeah,
and that's from the other episode I watched where he invented it.
Yeah, him and Luke.
I was like, oh, you got to watch all the Thanksgiving episodes to get all the references.
So, yeah.
So again, very tightly plotted, very screwball. Crazy thing leads to this, leads to that. Turkeys get switched. The turkeys end up in suitcases. It's very good. Strongly written comedy. Some very broad silliness. But there's the T-shirt cannon, I think, is what knocked the power out or something.
Yeah.
Was that the idea?
So,
but then also a little clever. There's always clever wordplay in that show too. I love there's little quips like Manny. I can't even remember what it was.
Oh yeah, so in the past, Manny's had a crush on the oldest sister. And they're driving in the car, and they're talking about it, and she almost runs into the
stop short.
Yeah, almost runs into the car in front of her, and he reaches out.
Seinfeld reference. Yeah. He does the stop short. That's Jerry's move.
Yes,
not Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Stiller.
So yes,
stop short.
So I don't know.
I don't know. I like this show. It wore on me after time. Like, it became a thing that kind of wore on people's nerves, the way the show was made. It was clever at the beginning, and for most of its run, I liked it, but it did kind of go on a little too long.
Mm-hmm.
This was a perfectly fine episode.
Yeah, it's not one I watched from the beginning to the end, but I would catch it when I could. So I've seen plenty of episodes, and going back and revisiting this, that was really clever, right? So I liked it.
Okay, so we're going with Modern Family. We voting?
I'm saying the League because
You're saying the League.
The Indians taught the Pilgrims to eat maize and be generous lovers.
I'm saying Modern Family.
I know, but I just wanted to be.
Okay, Modern Family. All right. Next up, we have how do we do a bracket? Not mention Riverdale.
Time jump.
Yes, indeed.
Threw me off. Like, it had been a long time since I'd watched one pre-time jump. So
yeah,
like, what is going on?
Well, guys, I do not have Netflix, and this was not saved in my DVR, so I wasn't able to watch this one. But I was able to do the next best thing.
Listen to the podcast.
I listened to the podcast, episode 201 of Ka-Pow. We had just done our 200th clip show. In episode 201, we talked Riverdale, and it was great to revisit in that format.
Can't imagine what we said. But
I can't either.
I
kind of want to listen to it, but yeah, this is season 4, so way back, and it was episode 7, chapter 64, The Ice Storm.
Yeah.
Been too long since these hands have tasted street justice.
Yeah. We already got the gym. We're at the El Royale. They're going to have Thanksgiving for the orphans, I guess.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
We talked about Chekhov's turkey fryer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I would say it was so obvious. You can't be cooking in there inside.
Yeah, Darla Dixon.
Had the Ram and Hermione eating at Pops with Skeet and the Thunder.
Yes. And man, I tell you what, I really missed the Thunder, the old Alice. Like Alice was great at this point. Like she wasn't all weird and conservative.
Yeah. What was we had Jughead was at Stone Wall or something.
Yes, Stonewall Prep.
And Betty went there, and she made a comment that she wanted to have a Thanksgiving like Charlie Brown with eat a bunch of snacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's how she wanted her.
So
nice reference.
This was right after I think Mr. Chipping had jumped out the window.
Yeah, they were trying to figure out if he was good or bad.
Yeah. And
the one person got wanged.
In the mask. So,
it was just a prank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That dude sucked anyway.
That's true. It was a prank, so a hilarious prank, but you got wanged anyway.
and
we wang first, ask questions later.
Of course, Cheryl.
Cheryl and TT were still hanging out. This is back before she married Fangs and everything.
Right. So, yeah. They had managed
the meat pies or the meat.
Yeah. They had killed off.
Fed him cousin, their cousin or something.
Yes. Uncle something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clifford.
No.
Guys, watch Riverdale. All right, we can only say so much. Please watch Riverdale.
Watch Riverdale and then go back.
What do you want?
Just like Jordan did, and listen to our commentary and our recap.
Just as good, he said. Just as good.
Just as good.
Anyway, what's Riverdale up against?
It is up against the show that made Senior Archie famous, Beverly Hills 90210.
Oh yeah, yeah. I had to find one of these. I think I watched more than one.
Did you?
Of their Thanksgiving ones.
They had more than one Thanksgiving?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
this was I don't remember what the deal was. They were basically hanging back the parents weren't there. They were going to do their own Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And cousin Valerie there. She's dating David and Donna's got her new boyfriend.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Did you ever watch this show?
I did.
Yeah, okay. I used to date a girl and she loved the show, so we just watched it all, all the time. And Ray Pruitt. This is post Ray Pruitt, but he's still in the picture. I was like, Ray Pruitt. Like, I was like, I can't picture the guy. And then when he showed up, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, there's so many, I forgot. Everybody wanted to dress like they were from the 50s.
He was a sorry excuse replacement for Dylan.
Right.
Perry. So
then we had, of course,
Shannon Doherty had already left the show. So Tiffany Amber Thiessen had come in, and like we said, she had been in a relationship with David Austin Green. And
Brian Austin Green.
David on the show. David on the show, so they're gonna have their own Thanksgiving.
They go to the grocery store.
Get a whole montage.
Yeah, I love that. Well, grocery store stuff was good.
Yeah.
They played pickup football with Steve Young. Of course, they played with Steve Young.
Yes.
Because why not?
Donna
she hooked him up, you know. For her boyfriend's birthday. And then she was going to do it with him for his birthday.
Yeah.
Donna was still a virgin at this time, but when they get to the point, they find out he's a virgin also. So he's the perfect boyfriend for her.
Of course.
And go
on. Steve had went to a big fancy schmancy fundraiser thing.
Yeah, with Claire.
And he decides he's just gonna sit at a table by himself and drink and eat chips and stuff for a while, and then suddenly he's like the cat's meow immediately as soon as
he knows everything. He's got all the answers and setting a good, really good impression, and
world
thought he was a waste.
Bullshitter is what he was. World class bullshitter. So, she falls in love with him because he's full of shit.
Yeah. That's exactly right. They were made for each other. I like at dinner he did, and I forgot to mention it when we did Mr. Belvedere. Bob Euchre and Steve both gave the rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub, at dinner.
Yay God.
Classic. Yay God. Classic Thanksgiving prayer.
Yep.
So whatever. It was
that was about it.
Thanksgiving. Oh well, way too very stuck out. Like, you should never trust your boyfriend if he's Brandon, and you shouldn't trust your girlfriend if it's Jenny Garth or whatever. Like
Kelly.
They're trying to act like this perfectly innocent. This will be fine, and they are spending way too close and much time together. Like, what was that?
Yeah.
I was like, who are you trying to kid? Now, of course, we all wanted them to get back together, but it's like, you were basically cheating on your significant others. Like, that was crazy. But that's 90210, baby. that's Riverdale without the pizzazz.
That's for sure.
That's River without the Dale. What was it up against?
Riverdale.
Oh my gosh.
Riverdale.
That's it. It's like, wow. So this is a good matchup. This is as far as like,
it's a fun
similar shows,
different decades.
This was just, this was the really. I mean, I don't want to say this is the first. What before this was like this? It's a kids soap opera basically. It's. Maybe the closest thing is Saved by the Bell. I think it was like younger.
I mean, for us, sure. I was going to say like maybe like I don't know. I want to say like a Peyton Place or something like that, but it was probably more soap opera than.
This was early days of Fox Network who were taking chances and trying to get that young audience.
Well, there was this, and then when people started to grow out of this, that went right to Melrose Place. So this was just they just went with the age there, but.
This was a monster.
Huge. Huge.
Yeah. They had their own dolls and merch and all that. So, okay.
I missed it. I've never seen a minute of it. So I will, by default, have to go Riverdale.
I can't. At this point, I can't vote against Riverdale.
I'll give it a sympathy vote then. I thought it was a pretty good example of
it was
90210.
But I think I don't know, just I hadn't watched those episodes in so long, and then with Riverdale, and I mean, going back and turning that thing on, it was just like I was just right back in it. It was just, it felt, it just felt like home.
That's how Jordan felt listening to the podcast.
So, all right, moving on.
What's next?
We've got Superstore, which was Black Friday again. Yeah, so the premise is pretty much it's Black Friday, it's retail. As things happen in retail, they decide to have a potluck before the store opens. So at like 3 a.m., they're all in there shoving food in their face, and something makes all the employees sick immediately, like vomiting, things coming out of all kinds of holes. Sick, everybody in the store. And then of course it's Black Friday, so they're overrun with customers and trying to take turns, with each other as they're running to the bathroom and staying on the sales floor. So actually pretty good episode. We've been watching Superstore ever since we went back and watched this episode. So about a week or so ago, and just I kind of forgot how much I liked the show. So real strong episode for me. Anything else before we?
I didn't watch it from the beginning, but you guys loved it so much that it made me check it out. I was like, yeah, that is a very strong sitcom. And the creators went on to make that American Auto, which I liked a lot, and it got canceled pretty early. And then just a new show that St. Denis Medical just premiered from the same creator. So they definitely have a vibe, kind of slightly exaggerated. The characters are real enough, but the situations are just turned up a little bit too exaggerated. I love the line that the frantic mom. There's a little red-haired girl with a doll. It's like, oh, there she is. And then she runs over and grabs the doll.
Those are the funny things with customers. Those are always our favorite thing.
Yeah, somebody's always in the background doing
Glenn
something
was
crazy.
Too tense, so Glenn had to take some pills, and Glenn was just very mellow through the whole catastrophe.
Yeah, I like the pharmacist didn't have any business. Nobody comes to get their
easiest day of the year for him.
Yeah, and the one guy is just going to keep making announcements really slow, so he didn't have to go work the register. This was their first time getting together, him and Dina. That was the very beginning of that. It's good. It's Superstore, great show. It's Black Friday though, so I can't remember what are we up against here.
So
is there something more Thanksgiving that we're
so this is up against the middle. Thanksgiving 2. So the second episode of
so like I said, I watched all 9 Thanksgiving episodes. And this show surprises me that Jordan wasn't more into, because it's a family scraping by, that type of show.
Something always goes wrong.
It's just all the shortcuts you got to make it,
This one that I missed. This is literally the only episode I've seen of it.
Oh,
this
really?
is my
Wow.
one sample of it.
Yeah, it's now again. I watched all 9 episodes, and there was not a standout. I thought all of them were perfectly good examples of a middle episode. So I just went with this one.
Is the little kid like a Malcolm, like a genius?
He's more quirky. He's not really a genius. No.
Okay.
He's smart. He reads a lot.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part of it, was him getting excited. There's a librarian coming to the house.
Yeah.
We gotta clean our room.
Yeah.
that seemed like a non sequitur to me, which is just made it much funnier. He's so impressed that we're gonna meet a librarian.
He's just weird. He is smart, but he's not a genius.
And Chris Kattan getting jealous of
the 9-year-old
spending too much time with the 9-year-old.
Absolutely, yeah. I like all the characters in the show, and I like the stuff with the dad. He's just sitting out in the truck. He just so there's other episodes where he invites the dad, and it's just always you have to practically beg him to come because I wouldn't want to be a bother or whatever, but he really wants to be wanted and to be there, but don't want to impose or whatever. But this was, I mean, I could be wrong. This is the one with Norm Macdonald, right?
Yes.
Right. We had the guest star Norm Macdonald.
That, which he was good too, as his brother.
Yeah, he was on several episodes.
Recurring
role.
That's why I wanted to get him in here because he was a good character on the show, and I saw it was a good.
Yeah. So
episode. I'm curious what you guys thought of it.
Yeah. So Mike's dad, they find out through the grapevine more or less that he breaks his hip. He's been in the hospital. And he has to get out of the hospital. And then Mike goes to share the information with his brother Rusty. And when he gets to Rusty's house, it's burned down. And he's living in a tent.
That's so good. It's like, why didn't you call me? What are you, a hip doctor?
Right.
It's like, why didn't you call me? What are you, a fireman? It's like, why would I call you?
Yeah. So
Mike Heck is great. Like I love that character. Like, but he usually wants to stay. He doesn't want to freaking talk to anybody.
Nobody.
But he's like, he
just wants to be left alone.
Still, but he's like, she's pushed him to like try to be involved with his family. Right. And he knows he should be, so he does make the effort,
Yeah.
He doesn't fight it as much as you might think, which I kind of like. Like he's like, okay, you're right, and he goes and does what he knows is right, but he makes it happen. But just the whole, they like tell each other, or they're telling each other they love each other and stuff.
So of course Frankie's family, they're exactly the opposite. It's all about how we're feeling an emotion, and you tell each other you love each other no matter what.
Was Jerry Van Dyke in this episode?
No.
He's in like most of the Thanksgiving episodes. Her dad is Jerry Van Dyke. That's his name, right? And he's hilarious in them. I just picked this episode, but yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. So it's a big contrast between their two families, and then at Thanksgiving, they use Mike's family as the example. Of course, they don't talk to each other. They just sit on the couch for a week and watch football, and the only thing they ever say is, what's on next. And I can relate to that a lot. That was very much.
But they're bonding. They're spending time together
in a different way. But that was very much, that would be a good example of how my household functioned growing up, even to this day. There's not a lot of that type of thing. And then, it's very much that, my wife and she's made a point and with our kids that we want to be different and make sure everybody feels loved and that they know that they're supported and that type of thing. So it has a nice little ending, where, they're all at the dinner table and Mike is just forced to, and he fights it so bad it's against every bit of his being.
He would never do that.
Oh, if we play football after dinner, I call Dad on my team. Mm-hmm. When you and Uncle Rusty were kids, did you used to play football on Thanksgiving?
I guess we did. It was just so long ago. Did we, Russ?
Well, I remember we played poker after dinner, and we'd use peanuts for chips. And before you knew it, your dad and I'd be shoving peanuts way up our nose, and then we'd shoot them out at the TV. He was really good at it.
The last time we were together on Thanksgiving, your mother was alive.
All right. Okay, okay. I am gonna get the ball rolling. And here I go. Just gonna say it. I love you, Dad.
And I love you, Mike. And I love you, Sue.
I love you too, Mom.
And I love you, Brick.
Love you, Mom.
And I love you, Axel.
Got it.
Anybody else want to chime in? Go ahead.
Love you, Axel. Love you, Brick.
Love you, Sue. Love you, Axel.
Yeah, I kind of love you, Brick. And Sue, oh my God, I just love you so much.
I love you, Miss Gibbs.
I love you, Brick.
I love Dick Peterson, but he was a black man, so it was forbidden. It was a different time. Just a different time.
These mashed potatoes are sure something else.
He says, "Dad, I love you," and they're all just like, in shock at first, and don't know how to react and don't know what to do. But yeah, it was a pretty good episode.
But they do. I mean, it feels so close to home, like the way they resolve it at the end with the dad. Well, if you're gonna, if you don't have a place to stay, you
might as well.
you might as well be this. And he's like, well, if I'm there, I might as well cook for you. And so, it's just like. But then, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was good. I already forgot what it was up against.
Superstore.
Yeah, I picked this.
Okay.
I love dark comedies like Sunny, but I'm weird too because I like these warm-hearted comedies. I like when families work stuff out. Like, I have two sides of my personality that I like both those type things. I like the extremely cynical, like none of this should matter, and I love the sappy, let's all hug at the end. Like I love both those things when they're done well.
Yeah.
And I thought this was done well. I would watch more of this show. Like I thought this was this won me over as a sitcom. Good. But I think I'm still leaning Superstore as just laugh out loud, funny.
Yeah.
And I'm more familiar with it. I enjoyed that more, a slight advantage. So it's up to you.
Shit.
Yeah. Thanksgiving or Black Friday?
Yeah.
What do you want to remember?
Oh my gosh. Gosh, my initial feeling was I was going to pick Superstore. But yeah, I did. I just watched this episode of the middle. So it's a little bit more fresh in my mind. We're big middle fans at this house. So I'm just going to go with the middle.
Yeah. I like both the shows very much.
I do too.
I was glad I was very late to the middle, and when I found it, I binged it. Like I really liked all the characters. All right, what's next?
Next up is Gilmore Girls. Yeah. It was called A Deep Fried Korean Thanksgiving, Season 3, Episode 9.
We'll talk about this is it. How I've heard for years, Gilmore Girls. It's all I ever hear, not necessarily from you guys, but like
I know.
That's a Ka-Pow show, but not, from our fans. And this is the first episode I've ever watched of it.
Me too.
Yeah. I'm finally seeing what it is.
I didn't get to this one, so I've still not seen a Gilmore Girl.
Wow.
Well,
that's not fair. That doesn't seem fair.
And I got family who's seen every second of it.
1 million times.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. I go ahead.
Valerie my nieces, they just did a run through, I think this summer for the first time. They watched the series with the nieces, but then took the time to be like, now, would you ever let a guy treat you this way? Like, they used it as like a learning tool of like some of the bad behavior that happened. It's like, you shouldn't ever let this happen to you.
Yeah. I always looked at this as, and I'm right, I always looked at this as Hallmark. This what all the Hallmark Christmas movies, this is the town they were set in. Was this Hamlet or whatever?
It was. I noticed the town, and how odd it was that like there was nobody else but whoever was talking on screen at the moment. There was nobody in the background or anything. It was weird.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's way older than I thought it was. Like, I mean, I guess it wasn't on my radar, but watching it, I'm like realizing how long ago this was, like how much younger these people are. Who was in it? Like, I was like, I didn't even know Sean Bean was, or Sean Gunn. I didn't even know he was in it, and apparently he's like a main character. And I didn't know like that
Melissa McCarthy.
Oh, I knew she was, but
okay, I did not.
What's up with her Suki? That seems like appropriation. Then Milo or whatever, Pilgrim Rick was in it.
Yeah, Pilgrim Rick was in it. Yeah, this was the second episode where that featured Pilgrim Rick. So.
This is a long time ago. He was a kid.
Yeah, he was just taking out the trash.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I did not expect that. I did kind of take a double take there for a second to realize that's who it was, but he was still kind of.
But they were doing the Andy Griffith story where he had to go around and eat spaghetti at like 3 or 4 different places one episode. Where they were doing it with turkey. Even the guy with his hat turned backwards had to eat there, and at Melissa McCarthy's, and at I don't remember where else. Where'd they have to eat? Oh, her parents, or
her parents, who apparently.
The story was that the daughter was possibly going to be going to college where the grandfather had, and it was like some controversy of whether she was,
Harvard
coerced.
or Yale or something.
Yeah. And that she didn't want, her daughter to be pressured by them and stuff. And I'm sure there's a lot more to that. There's issues there that I don't know. That she's got issues with her parents or something. And I know they had just seen Grey Garden, so they were like acting like they were the old ladies in there. And so my complaint was I didn't buy some of the core of the show is the mother-daughter relationship, and some of the snappy dialogue it wasn't natural to me.
I noticed that too, especially with the younger girls, like just the way she they had a certain way of talking, and it was very like it just
you guys are
too
playing
fast.
With fire. You're gonna lose so many low listeners. You slamming Buffy and Gilmore Girls. We're gonna lose half our audience.
I'd say it's not a bad show. It's very of its time. I like the idea of what you're saying, teaching a lesson with it. It's like that kind of show that you could stop and say those kind of things. Learn, and you could watch this with your kids, and still like they would feel like they're watching an adult show.
Yeah,
it's a family show. It's not gonna be super risque. Maybe I'm sure they do get more serious issues than having to eat a bunch of Thanksgiving dinners. But
or running from your new
important
cat.
issues of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what crazy things happen in this one little place.
So that moving on. That is up against an episode of Frasier, season 3, episode 4, a Lilith Thanksgiving.
Man, I gave you guys a different Thanksgiving episode, but that is so much better. And I love Frasier. I love that show. So I had that instinct to want to give you a better episode and make you like it. And I was like, oh, this other episode's way better. And it's Thanksgiving, but it's so barely Thanksgiving. And this one is so very Thanksgiving. So I went back and said, no, you got to watch this one. Even if it's worse, it's the Thanksgiving episode. So
I watched both of them. So which one are we talking about?
This is the one with there's a bunch of. They were trying to get him in school. They're trying to get him in
they're trying to impress the headmaster of a private school.
Right.
On Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, and he's super annoyed about it. And Niles is cooking or something. What are they cooking? Dinner for something
Niles
also.
Is cooking. So.
Yeah, and Grandpa and Niles keep injuring the kid.
Frederick.
A very fragile existence. He's so protected at all times by Lilith, but they leave him alone with those two guys, and they keep knocking him in the head. Hits him with a baseball. Hits him with the fridge door.
Yeah. And they come and steal the turkey.
He's allergic to, and he breaks it out.
Yeah, like seafood. Yeah, it was silly, and they were like, trying to get him into school and bring the guy the turkey that Niles was cooking and all that. Eventually, annoyed the guy so much that he just lets him in as long as they promise to never show up
and never come to anything. So
the other episode I thought was the more clever one, just because the kid was trying to manipulate Frasier and Lilith into tricking them, making them each think that the other one was falling back in love with them. He was manipulating them until he got them in a position that he thought they would not push back, and feel as both psychiatrists that they don't want to scar him for life. He's trying to manipulate them into, protecting him, and he's trying to get a dirt bike. Is that what it was, Jordan?
Mini bike.
A mini bike, yeah. Eventually, they bust him. They figure it out, and actually, it's a really cute scene where they think that's what's going on, and Lilith says, go with me, and she basically, calls his bluff, and he doesn't back down. She's like, your father and I are getting back together, and he's like, oh boy, that's so great. He's like, oh, I can't wait to tell my friends. He takes off, and Frasier's just like, all the years of therapy. Like, I can't believe we did that, and we were wrong. But then they catch him on the phone telling his friend how I'm definitely getting a dirt bike. So that's the better episode. But the turkey one it was just silly.
Yeah, I thought it was good, actually. I hadn't watched Frasier for a long time, and just those two. First of all, it's a nice dynamic that showing parents that are no longer together can still come together and act normal,
right?
Somewhat, and not be at each other's throat. But yeah, I thought it was really funny. Like they just keep going back to that dude's house on Thanksgiving, and he's getting more annoyed and trying to fix, his turkey, and they just keep screwing it up to the point. And then you think, oh, this, he's never getting into school, and finally the guy's like, yeah, I just don't care. Just promise never. I don't ever want to see you again. So yeah, I liked it.
This was against Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going Frasier.
Me.
Yeah, I know I watched Frasier as it aired. It's not something I've revisited very often in the intervening years, but yeah, it had a good poppy vibe to it. Like, the wordplay was clever. Yeah.
And what I will say is the best part of the show is Niles, and he's barely in
that
either
episode.
Of these episodes. Yeah, he's so funny in this show. So I've watched it probably all the way through 15 times.
Wow.
For years, it was what played on my break at work in the middle of the night. 2 a.m. Frasier was on for literally over a decade. So I've seen every episode a million times. Okay.
Moving right along, we have a more recent show, Master of None. This is the Netflix show. Episode was called Thanksgiving. It was from season 2, episode 8. This was when Denise had become more the central character, and this episode just gives us flashbacks from the time they were kids, her and Dev. And each year kind of, different phases,
time jumps,
phases of life. But so we see, basically the main theme is Denise and being accepted, going from, hiding it and dipping her toes into having a girlfriend and her sexuality, and her family becoming more accepting of it, her grandmother and especially her mother and aunt.
Yeah, good performance by Angela Bassett.
Yeah,
as her mom.
This episode, Lena Waithe won the Emmy for writing. She's the first Black woman to ever win a writing Emmy, and a lot of this was based on her real life, coming out to her own parents and dealing with, in the Black community. There's there's stigma still a lot of times. Sure. And it's, that there's, I wasn't able to rewatch this, but my memory is still very strong. This is the best episode of this series, one of the best episodes of the decade, I think, of a TV show. And I rewatched the trailer on YouTube, a 2-minute little trailer, and I started tearing up by like just watching a tiny clip of it. And yeah, Angela Bassett saying it's hard enough being a black woman in this country. You want to add something else to it, like that kind of like, what are you doing with your life, to this slow acceptance. And it's just so powerful. And it's not my experience by any stretch, but it's like, it's a human experience, and it's so powerful. It's like, we need shows like this. We talk about diversity and hearing other people's stories, but like, yeah, walking a mile in her shoes was like such a powerful thing to go through. And then framing it around Thanksgiving, which is known for family and getting together, like, yeah, this was just blockbuster, amazing hour of TV.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's an all-timer.
So I was watching the news the other day, and apparently there's this bulldog that set a world record for skateboarding through 30 people's legs. Dee, you seen that clip? He was going through the legs like...
Yeah, that wasn't the news. That was on World Star Hip Hop.
That's the news. Dee, let's take a selfie.
All right, let's do it quick, though.
Ready? Oh, this has to go on the gram.
Hey, Nikki, what is your username on there?
Nipples and Toes 23.
What was it again?
Nipples and Toes 23.
Okay, well, I'm gonna add you real quick. So, Nipples and Toes 43.
No, Nipples and Toes 23.
Nipples and Toes 23.
Yeah.
Wait, is it nipples and the letter N toes, or is it nipples ampersand toes?
No, it's nipples and the word A-N-D, toes 23.
So nipples, A-N-D, toes.
Yes.
So nipples and toes.
23.
So nipples and toes 23.
Yeah, got the nipples, got the toes. I think it's very clear what a username is.
I mean, as a strong gay black woman myself, I thought, it was all right.
Strong.
Strong is what you question.
That's the joke.
Yeah.
That's my humor point.
No, I thought it was great. I rewatched it, and that's a show I kind of want to go back and watch the whole thing again. It's
a good show.
It was a good show. So
yeah, I remember really liking that show, but yeah, this episode just stood above all the rest of them for me.
So it is it's up against The West Wing, an episode called Shibboleth, season 2, episode 8. Yeah, I don't know. You guys wanted this one added on, so I watched it.
Well,
I've never watched it. My mom did back in the day, so I know I've seen scenes and parts of it just being on, but I've never watched the full episode. I liked it. I thought this was really well made, but I don't think I'm at the point where I could rewatch a show about functioning government.
You can't. I tried
like,
rewatching it.
People trying their best to like improve other people's lives and the government. Like I don't see that's.
I tried rewatching it because he's such a idealized president, and they really make the it's Aaron Sorkin, and it's just makes you have faith in this this institution, and this is a good example of an episode of it. This good president taking it seriously and. Everyone respecting him, yet this is his inner circle and his friends, and it's just I wanted to get it on there. It's not my favorite episode of the series or anything, but it was a good enough example, and it has to do with Thanksgiving, and I just wanted to maybe if you like this, I'm glad Jordan never watched it. This was a good way to get him.
It's a really solid series. Great cast. And I didn't watch every episode, but I watched enough back in the day that, I don't know, it gives you a little false sense of a president that, knows what the hell he's doing, number one, and gives a damn, sure.
Yeah, this guy's I mean, of course, he's a whiz. He knows everything of history. You know, it's like it's unrealistic how he is a encyclopedia of historical presidential knowledge and everything. You know, he's just it's very the ideal. So so it's not realistic in that point, but sometimes you just want to feel good. You know.
Yeah. And this particular episode, the stuff with the turkeys was fun. Sticking it in
Allison Janney.
Yeah, she's great.
She has to pick which one for him to pardon. They bring 2 turkeys is the tradition so that so that she can pick the better looking one or whatever, whichever ones they want to be seen.
It's
I'm so used to her being like a tough cookie lady, take no crap, but like she was so flustered in this series. Like she's kind of new at the job, and like it was a really good.
She's really good in this series. Yeah.
So I have a little anecdote about this that I had forgotten. Personally, when they were talking about the turkeys and pardoning them and this and that, and they had the young guy that was from Jasper Farms. So last year, I took a call at work. Because I work for an industrial cleaner, and it was from the farm that provides the turkeys to the White House every year at Thanksgiving, and kind of talking to them was kind of neat. Didn't know that. It was kind of a neat, fun little thing last year that happened, and
cool.
Yeah, reminded me of that. So
yeah.
So yeah, we have Master Nun versus the West Wing.
Yeah. Okay. 2 solid. I mean, these are solid Thanksgiving episodes, but yeah, Master Nun is the more. That's the big gun here.
Agree.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Next we have here's a KPP show we've talked a lot about. The Goldbergs. This was hold on. This was season 1, episode 9. So the first one, stop arguing and start thanking. So this was, their Thanksgiving episodes were always like Uncle Marv coming over,
Ball.
I think it was the
gotta win the trophy.
Introduction to Ball. Uncle Marv's got his DeLorean. He's trying to get everybody to invest in his pyramid scheme of selling face cream.
My brother and I invented games constantly.
Oh yeah,
that's such a realistic feeling.
Absolutely,
thing.
In the basement,
weird, convoluted rule.
yeah, sure.
And you do it in the basement.
Didn't say ball.
That's where you invent those games.
Yeah.
So this is the flashback to the 80s. It didn't feel quite as, I think as the show went on, it became like, hey guys, remember this from the 80s? Like this felt a little more grounded, more realistic look at the 80s rather than the crazy,
But still it was like, hey, a DeLorean.
Yeah, right. Which is like, wait. If Back to the Future's already come out, then DeLorean's already like a defunct company, right?
Yeah.
Am I crazy with that?
So, okay. So this is going to be up against Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Speaking of bingo cards.
Oh.
This is the cold open. Everybody's got a bingo card on whether Boyle, what Boyle things he's going to say on Thanksgiving, I can't remember what all they were, but I remember that sticking out.
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Or he's gonna tell you some history about this or that, or he's,
Yeah, season 1, episode 10 was just called Thanksgiving.
Back when, I loved the show. I didn't watch it when it first started, but then there was all that hubbub where they were bringing it back and every people had loved it and why did they cancel it and all that, and I had never watched it, so when they brought it back I started over at the beginning and I was like, man, I love the show, and I really especially love these earlier seasons with Chelsea Peretti on there because she was such a huge part of the show, and so funny. I hated when they got rid of her. But Andre Brower and Annie Samberg, like, it's a stacked cast, and I just think it's a super funny. And again, this was a fine episode. Very all about what's the girl's name? She's gonna have Thanksgiving. She looks at the chief as her mentor and wants to impress him.
Amy.
Yeah. And just, another character we have here who doesn't, the Chandler doesn't like Thanksgiving because of how his parents scarred him around Thanksgiving. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm in the same boat where I didn't jump on this at the beginning and only found it later. So I haven't seen a ton of these, but I've really liked all the ones I have.
Yeah, it's not a show I've really watched. So
man, Andre Brower's so good in this, so good.
Yeah, it was fine. I about half it didn't hold my interest much because I didn't know the characters or anything. So yeah, it wasn't bad. I just never got into the show.
Okay, what's it up against?
The Goldbergs.
Oh, the Goldbergs. Oh,
yeah.
Well, this man.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not like it was the greatest episode ever or anything, but neither was the Goldberg. That had a DeLorean. I like it. I like DeLoreans. I'm annoyed by the brother. It's been a long time since I watched the Goldbergs because I watched it as it was coming out for many seasons, and then it all but jumped the shark. Like I just got sick of it and quit watching it. I didn't watch the last few seasons, and
I didn't either.
But I like I always had this thing at the end showing the actual footage or something.
Yeah. So when Adam F. Goldberg was actually involved in producing the show, and he was the creator and had his own home movies, it was much better. It was it was a good it was a show. But yeah, after he was no longer involved with the show, and it took some turns, and there were some issues with the cast, I just kind of lost interest in it. It got sillier and sillier, and yeah.
I'm gonna go Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think it's a better show. The first 3 or 4 seasons are just solid, very solid, with a great cast. So that's my pick.
Goldbergs. It was another mom wanting to be appreciated plot. Or mom's working so hard on this day, and the kids are all just goofing off. So, but I like that. I like the payoff to all that, and the brother, learning to trust him again, and all that stuff. So I'm leaning Goldbergs.
I would also vote Goldbergs. Okay. Here's a fun one. New Girl. This was a lot easier when my brain was still working. New Girl. Season 1, episode 6. Simply again called Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the first of many Thanksgiving episodes.
Another series that made a point of every season having a very specific episode devoted. And I went through and watched them, all of them, because I'm in the Thanksgiving spirit yet.
You were a big New Girl fan when it was on.
I did too. I loved it too. I watched all of it.
Yeah, I missed out on it.
Yeah, I watched it from the beginning when it came out. I thought it was good. The cast is great. This is the first time we were seeing, what's his name? Jordan.
Nick Miller.
Yeah, Nick Miller. I think I meant his real name, but this is the first time we're seeing.
So do I, but it's 4 a.m.
Yeah, but I was like, wow, this guy's gonna be something.
Jake Johnson.
Yeah, you could tell he was special.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this guy has a special sense of humor, and it wasn't very long after that he's, caught on fire.
Yeah, and to me, their chemistry with Zoe Deschanel is like one of those all-time sitcom chemistry. Yeah, they're amazing together. I have a Facebook memory that comes up every year of the night I watched this, because I had like it was the fall season premieres, and I was like, well, this show sucked. This show's terrible. Like Two Broke Girls that just like I was, oh, that could be good. It's like, oh, that was a terrible pilot. And like all week I was Facebook complaining about how bad all the shows were this fall. And I was like, wait, this New Girl's pretty good. I was like, if they tone down the bro stuff, this could be a really great ensemble. And I was like, I have a memory. I know I watched the pilot and was into it from the very beginning. So yeah, this is season 1. It hadn't quite gelled into what it became, because again, these characters became so good at their characters. The actors became so good at their characters, and like there were all these recurring bits and character quirks and ticks that they all developed. So we're just kind of in this first season. Jess had left her longtime boyfriend and needed a new place to stay. Found this apartment with 3 male roommates. And so it became, there's this new girl in the apartment. So that's kind of the premise of it. And then they become all involved in each other's lives. And I think the ensemble is one of the best. This show makes me laugh like nothing else. And it's that warm-hearted stuff. Like they bicker and they fight, but they've always got each other's back. And it's always
they're all warm-hearted, really. Like
she is just a
brings it
bubble
out
of positivity. The guys might grumble or whatever, but they've always got it back.
Yeah, I agree. The other 2 guys are really good. Cece, the other girl, is pretty good, and then they end up bringing in Damon Wayans Jr.
In the pilot, Damon Wayans was coach, and then before it got picked up, he moved on to that other show, that ABC sitcom. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
It was a pretty acclaimed as well, but it ended up getting canceled. So eventually he moved back. So
That's crazy.
They let him back in.
Yeah. Again, another show that I hadn't really watched, but I really enjoyed this episode. Like I thought it was funny. Throwing the turkey in the
frozen turkey.
Frozen turkey. Throwing it in the
parade.
dryer. Her laying on the floor trying to warm it with her body heat cracked me up. So, I thought it was pretty funny. Had a funny ending to it that surprised the hell out of me. So it actually, I was like, oh, this is probably a show I could sit down and watch and get into that I just haven't done. So we'll see. Maybe we will. I think my wife watched most seasons and really liked it. So yeah. So
I loved when the turkey catches on fire. There's a bunch of smoke. Schmidt's like, it looks like a Prince video in here. Well, how little would they know several seasons later Prince would have a guest shot on an episode.
So, it's going to be, it's playing up against Glee. I know you guys love Glee. I'm sure of it. This would have been season 4, episode 8, Thanksgiving, of course. This was like the first season after some of the castmates had graduated and moved on. My wife and daughter love Glee. I've seen lots of Glee over the years, and they got really excited when I turned Glee on, and then they were like immediately like, oh, it's like one of the later seasons, and so.
And then, it already burned down Arnold's by that.
Yes, definitely. About the time the Flash and Supergirl show up, it's not worth watching. But still, whatever. It the graduates have returned on their Thanksgiving break to spread their knowledge to the new kids, the younger kids. And who are just kind of, for the most part, I don't want to say they're carbon copies of the original cast, but some of them are pretty close. There's the cheerleader girl and the evil preppy kid and, that type of thing. The sweet innocent girl, whatever. You guys watch it?
Yeah, I watched it. I didn't even know any of that. I didn't know these are people that were not on before. I don't know.
Yeah, big.
It was all I thought was Bob's Burgers did a better play or performance or whatever.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear that song. I didn't want to go to Sarah Jessica Parker's Kiki.
Yeah,
let's
that
have
was
a
weird.
Kiki, or
Yeah.
And when Supergirl died or whatever, I was glad finally, and then I shut it off.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't get to this one.
Okay.
You didn't miss anything.
You didn't.
That's the best decision you ever made, because I like musicals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm willing to admit that the more I see of something, like, I thought I was kind of excited to watch this. I was like, I never watched Glee, but when I see things with songs now, and when the Riverdale does songs and stuff, I like it. I'm like, you know what? I may find out I really like this.
Well,
and it sucked. I hate it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch Glee as it was on, but I watched whatever was after it. So I saw the last 30 seconds of like every Glee because I turned it on to watch something else. So I would always see the very end of it. It was like, ugh.
Yeah. I mean, the first couple of seasons are fine. It was a huge hit. Young people loved it. It was different than other things on television at that time. But
I'm sure. I remember seeing clips of whatever the hot song was that they performed. You might see a clip online or whatever, and it's like usually the stuff they showed was good because it was good, and that's why they were sharing it,
right?
But this particular episode did not.
It was trash, absolute trash. Yeah. So there are definitely good things about some of the episodes of Glee. They tackle issues on that. They did on that show, from teen pregnancy to to coming out episodes and bullying and all kinds of things that are good to watch, but this episode just wasn't it. So I am fully prepared to move New Girl on.
It's Jess.
Yeah. Well, I am seeing it here in my notes. We already did. Superstore didn't make it, right?
No.
Correct. We went the middle.
That's fine. I just noticed I did have a note that it had a great needle drop. They had that Busy Earnin' needle drop where they went at, that's a great, I love the beginning of that. That's a famed needle drop from Borderlands games. Just really hypes you up, and it did in that episode. Got them busy earning.
All right. Late additions to the list they've been added as we went on. You guys watched these shows. Dexter
Thanksgiving episode. I never really watched Dexter. I heard people were big fans of it. It was one of those prestige-ish shows at that time, and I just never. I think I watched an episode or two and was just like, I just don't think it's for me. I want it to be, but it's just, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
And did either of you guys watch this series?
No. So
I did not.
He's a serial killer who works at like a CSI, like a blood splatter analysis, so he can kill people, but he only kills other bad guys. Or I think that's the idea.
I'm sure that's what they're trying to sell you.
So again, I'm exact same boat. It kept winning awards. People kept raving about it. But I was like, I don't think I would like that show. But I always had that in the back of my head, like, maybe I'm wrong. So, okay, here I get a chance to watch an episode, and it just didn't click with me. The tone of it was odd.
Yeah.
The voiceover was kind of chipper, and like, I don't know. It just had a very weird vibe to it all. And again, I'm being dumped into the middle of a storyline about the Trinity killer, and I don't know what's going on. So this probably isn't the fairest way to do it. But it was a little weird. The lady played Nora Dark in the CW.
Arrow?
Damien Dark's daughter. He's in this, and I've seen her naked now. So that's Brandon Routh's wife. I've seen Superman's wife naked.
Oh,
now
my.
It doesn't seem right.
I'm sorry I made you watch it. Scarred your baby eyes. I totally agree about the vibe. It definitely is very has the vibe of its time. Like that's the type of early 2000, mid 2000s vibe that you get from this show. But it's it just did not make you feel good ever. I mean, it's a serial killer show, but it wasn't like you could have made it more palatable than this. And it was just such high tension with John Lithgow and stuff. And
yeah, he was so good. Like,
oh
he was
my
creepy
gosh.
and very threatening.
Oh,
so I liked his part.
Yeah, it didn't not make me feel. I did not have a good time. I was like, I don't want to
This isn't
put
a happy
myself.
Thanksgiving at all.
It's exactly what I thought. This is not the Thanksgiving vibes I was going for, but we put ourselves through it. We wanted it on the list. It was just like, and just the idea, just the thought of like Dexter carving a turkey or whatever, and he's cuts people up.
Yeah, that's like the show kept doing stuff like that. Like he was like sharpening a knife, and then it pans down. He's getting ready to cut a turkey. It's like it kept doing little misdirects like that. It's like, is this a comedy?
Yeah, what am I watching? And then somebody yell and it'd scare me, and I was like, I don't know. or he'd attack someone in the kitchen, and then someone walked in. What's happening? Anyway, what was it up against?
Night Court.
Vibes. Here's the good vibes you're looking for, Jordan.
I didn't watch it, so I like Night Court.
Yeah.
This is another, not everyone can be home for Thanksgiving, so we'll have a potluck dinner at the courthouse for people who don't have anywhere else to go. And somebody makes a bad dish that gets people sick.
Marky
so
Post.
We have another food poisoning episode.
Yeah.
Was that the A plot? I don't even remember what was.
I don't know what the A plot was.
They were roller skating nuns.
I feel like the yams were the A plot. That's sad. And
oh no, Mac is going to school.
Mac attack.
And there's a young lady who has designs on him from his class, and he thinks they're just studying. But she puts the moves on him, and his wife shows up. That lady was hilarious. I forgot.
Yeah, I forgot about her. She showed up. I was like, oh yeah, that's his wife.
She was the Asian lady, right?
Yeah. He came back and put the smackdown on this girl. And yeah, we had Dan Larroquette dealing with all these skating nuns, skimpily dressed.
Okay.
John Larroquette.
Yes.
Dan Field.
Oh, sorry. This is how we
cannot let things like that slip.
Yeah. This is how we had to have this is how I like my Night Court, with a lot of scantily dressed things with him having to deal with. Bull, did Bull do anything? I don't know. Said something stupid once or twice. That was it.
Okay.
Harry didn't do much in this episode either. Just wasn't anything fantastic, but I'll tell you what, Dexter. Better than Dexter.
That's what I was looking for. Okay. While we're on this train, Night Court versus This Is Us. Pilgrim Rick. I would consider a key episode of the series.
What?
I think
Why?
so.
Why?
Because the Pilgrim Rick thing carries on throughout the.
Yeah. I hate the idea that that's a big freaking deal, or that I mean, I like that show. I like This Is Us. I mean, I think that is it's not the greatest show ever, but
it's a really good show.
I watched. It was Parenthood, or whatever. Which I watched the Thanksgiving episode of Parenthood, but it didn't make the bracket. but which had a Gilmore Girl in it. But so I like this series, but the resolution or whatever that about her new husband, his old friend, wanting to get to be Pilgrim Rick, I thought was a bit presumptuous.
Yeah,
I thought that did not feel right to me. I was like, this predates you, buddy.
Right.
This is from when they were kids.
Yeah,
his kids should get to carry on this tradition. But no, they have to cater to this sad sack guy who thinks he has the right to take their tradition from when they were kids. That would just soured me on the whole freaking thing.
Yeah, definitely the worst part of the episode.
I wanted to go eat a corn sandwich and
but
like, you could be the new corn sandwich guy. How about that?
I did really like the flashback stuff of, them traveling to a parent's house that nobody wants to go to because they know they're going to have a miserable experience, but they feel obligated. And, the car breaks down and they just end up, shit goes sideways. They make the best of it and they end up setting a boundary, setting a healthy boundary that we're not coming ever again. We hate this. You treat us poorly. We're not dealing with it anymore. And then creating new traditions from that for the rest of life. So I think that's pretty sweet. I like that stuff. And there's some emotional stuff, of course, in there that they threw in there with Randall and his biological dad. Randall. And discovering a letter that his mom had written him, and he kept all those years. So, which, continues the storyline down through the years. So, yeah. So, Night Court, This Is Us.
Yeah. Well, you only watched This Is Us.
That's true.
I watched them both. I mean, I'll give it to This Is Us over Night Court. It wasn't that good of an episode. So.
Okay. So we have Modern Family.
Did you watch This Is Us, Jordan?
Nope.
Okay.
I didn't think
I just wanted to give you an opportunity to comment on this episode had you watched it.
Yeah, I remember.
I didn't want to break my streak of having never watched it.
Having never watched it.
I knew you two.
It's got time bombs.
Time bombs.
Got time bombs in it for sure.
It's true.
That's every show.
That's every show. Yes.
59 shows.
Couldn't do one more. So, we got to go through the rest of this, right?
Yep.
This section.
Mm-hmm.
Squeeze in that we can squeeze. What was the one that we cut? Oh, Schitt's Creek had nothing to do with.
Oh yeah, see, if we would have left Schitt's Creek on there,
we're an even 60.
But that's okay.
That's all right. I hate Schitt's Creek.
Back to the top here.
That was exactly like Dexter. It's a show everyone's told me I should watch, and it wins awards. But I was stubborn. I was like, all right, I'm watching this episode, and it did nothing for me.
No. I had watched, when I watched the show, I did watch through the first season when I originally did watch it, and I hated the whole I was like, maybe it takes a while. I don't want somebody to come back and tell me I didn't give it enough time. It never got any better.
I liked all those people so much.
I do too.
They're all really funny.
But it was just so slow and not even like it was even trying to be funny half the time.
Right, so it's been eliminated from.
Yeah, it didn't even get to be on here. It's the 60th, and we cut it out.
Yep.
It got 60th place.
There you go.
All right, well, we're back at the top now.
Back here at the top, we've got Modern Family, 3 Turkeys versus Riverdale, the Ice Storm.
I mean, I love Riverdale, right? Like, how far does it deserve to go in this bracket? Right?
I want to sit. I want to sit at the
Chekhov's turkey fryer.
I'm saying it deserves to go all the way.
I'm voting Riverdale.
Jordan?
A turkey fryer explodes and blows up a rival gang in a boxing arena.
It was the ghost of Senior Archie.
Yeah.
He saved them all.
I agree. They had to put a plaque up afterwards.
That's right.
One more round for Riverdale. Go.
Yeah, let's push it through.
Holy moly.
Totally agree. That wasn't even the best Modern Family Thanksgiving episode.
Okay. Wow, that's an upset. We have the middle, Thanksgiving 2 versus Frasier, Lilith, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the middle.
I said Frasier has the pedigree, but I just as an episode, I like the middle better.
Yeah.
This
Fun poor over rich people.
Yep.
Fight the power.
We've got Master of None versus the Goldbergs.
Oh, not close. Master None.
And agreed. New Girl versus This Is Us.
Oh, Jess, we're not doing Thanksgiving. Okay, we talked about this. We're just going to watch football, drink beer, and then we are going to Best Buy for Black Friday.
Or as I like to call it, Friday. It's our thing, Jess. It's Dudes Giving.
Okay, no matter how many emails you send, that's not a thing.
It's real, man.
It's not real.
Totally
We're
real.
not calling it that.
It has been 2 years since I've had an American Thanksgiving.
We talked about this.
Look, it's not a big deal. I'm just cooking dinner for you guys. And Paul.
What?
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 Did you say and Paul? Who's Paul? Did you invite somebody named Paul to our house?
Yes, I did. I asked someone out.
Ask someone out?
Jess, be honest. Is the turkey named Paul?
It's a real guy. And he teaches at my school. And he's really, really hot. And the turkey is named Hank. Thanksgiving. And we are going to eat him. So.
Thanksgiving.
New Girl.
New Girl.
All right. Whew. Man, we got some. I would. Those are upsets, baby.
Tough bracket.
Upsets. Okay. Again, back here to the top, Riverdale versus the middle.
I'm going the middle.
A show I've seen every second of every episode and talked about and dissected even longer versus a show I've seen one episode.
Yeah.
I will say this about that episode of Riverdale. One thing we didn't mention, I don't think, it's been a long night. But the very end, when they're trying to convince Cheryl's relatives that they're eating their other relative, and they pan over and there's that stupid Julian doll. And Cheryl's like, I eat my twin in the womb.
In the womb, yeah.
And then TT rolls out Jason in the wheelchair. They're all just like, yeah, whatever. It's Jason's dead dummy body. And I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
It cracked me up.
Well, I think the winner's going to come out of the bottom of this bracket, so I don't think this pick really matters. So I'm going to give the fan favorite to Riverdale as my pick. So, Cliff, you can decide.
Oh, it's up to me? The middle?
I think the middle is a better Thanksgiving episode. It at least has a chance. Riverdale's not going to win the best Thanksgiving episode.
No, it's not.
Stranger things have happened.
But, man, I do. I think I just miss Riverdale.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to. But, yeah, I'll go with the middle. I think it was more heartfelt. Definitely episode. So, down here we've got Master of None versus New Girl.
These might be my two favorite things on this entire bracket. That's tough.
I really enjoyed watching both of them.
They're very different things.
Very different things. But I thought. I did think Master of None was a pretty powerful episode. And a little different. Had some timey-wimey stuff in there that was fun. I also liked, watching Dev and Denise as little kids and that friendship, just carrying on that tradition. Thanksgiving's a lot about tradition. And him coming over.
The kid did a good Aziz Ansari.
He did.
Yeah, I liked how he said how they set up in the first time that he was invited to Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
For the rest, from now on, you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, so you can come to our Thanksgiving. So now every time he's there.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Every year. So
yeah. I mean I like both of these, but it's Master of None for me.
Yeah, I want to skew sitcom because that's that's my thinking. What's a Thanksgiving special? Oh, it's a great sitcom. But that's I said it's one of the best hours of TV of the decade. So if anything can defeat New Girl, I would say Master.
Okay, so we're sitting at the middle versus Master None. It's got to be one of these to come out into the last Final Four entry.
I would say Master of None pretty easily.
Yeah, I do like that the middle made it here because I think that's a very good example of a Thanksgiving episode. But I think this deserves to be in the Final Four.
All right, so
what a mix!
Yes, yeah, we definitely. To kind of recap,
I'm excited about this.
We had a couple of top seeds in the first half, and then a couple of maybe dark horses in the second half.
Yeah. So we end up here with the last four: WKRP in Cincinnati, Garfield,
Turkey drop,
Turkey's away.
Turkey's away. Yeah.
Garfield's Thanksgiving, Seinfeld. The Mom and Pop Shop, and Master of None Thanksgiving. Those are.
I like the Final Four. Like I really like the Final Four.
Classics, all of them classics.
So yeah,
Oops, all bangers.
Oops, all bangers. So yeah, you guys ready to do it?
I don't know.
More than ready.
All right. So, Let's just continue on here since we've been talking about these.
We got a cartoon, 2 sitcoms, and a dramedy. I think we got a good representation.
Yes, I would agree. But we've been talking about these, so let's just go ahead and finish this off. I think that makes sense. It's all fresh. We have Garfield's Thanksgiving versus Master of None.
What a matchup. 2 titans. Garfield's been around since
1988.
The 80s. I mean,
at least this special has been. Yeah.
It's Thanksgiving. It's what Thanksgiving is for Garfield. This is, his only connection to it is John. So whatever John's doing, this is Thanksgiving. Whatever he can provide. He's going to try to make a Thanksgiving dinner.
And the vet put him on a diet. I mean, what's the worst punishment you could give to Garfield? He can't eat a Thanksgiving dinner? Crazy.
So then he sabotages it because he can't eat it? And then the vet says he can have it? Is that
then
correct?
the vet's like, oh, I'm sure you're fine.
So what was it he had sabotaged? What did he do to it?
Did he put it in the totoilet? No, that was
No.
That was a spoiler for Bob's Burgers. It was Garfield.
No, he put pepper. I can't remember. What did he do to
it was
pepper?
Something like yeah.
Yeah, he sabotaged it because he wasn't going to get to have any, and then the vet said that he could eat.
Right.
And then Grandma had to come save the day.
Yes.
So
with her chainsaw.
And the scale talked. And all of that versus a great episode of this very short series, only a couple seasons, a bottle episode about this girl over time letting her family know that she, is a lesbian and her mother's acceptance, a beautiful story versus Master of None.
John Arbuckle probably needed to have a good talk with somebody.
Just saying his name is funny.
I don't know. It's hard. Again, it's hard to pick very recent examples because you don't have that. You didn't grow up watching it every year. You don't have that nostalgia factor.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is tough. It shouldn't be easy. This is the top.
Right.
This is the top of the list.
Yeah.
If there's anything from this entire list, hopefully you found a couple episodes. Maybe if you haven't seen before, you got our recommendations of what you should go back and watch, and this would be at the top of my list if you haven't seen it. Even if you've never seen another episode of Master of None, this episode is a must-watch.
Yeah, you don't need to have seen another episode of it.
No, you don't. You don't.
Yeah. So, I'm just nostalgia.
I'm just like, who's going to pull the trigger first? Not one of us will pull the trigger.
Nostalgia is the thing. It's a mother, for me. I will. I love them both, but I'm gonna say Garfield.
I'm saying Master of None.
I was gonna jump.
The oldest trick in the book. Now Jordan has to decide. I don't have to.
I was already leaning.
Don't say.
Direction.
Okay, I'll just say before that, again, the Garfield episode is very good.
Yeah.
Many of these have, things going for them, things that don't. I don't think it's like we've decided it's not like the greatest thing we've ever seen, but it's nostalgia and it's a solid, cartoon and Thanksgiving special.
Yes.
This other one is a very different thing. But again, I love those moments in the Master of None episode where we see different girlfriends, and when the one returns, that's pretty awesome. And her helping the mom cook, her daughter's never made any effort to try to help with Thanksgiving dinner. And this girl comes in and wants to be a part of it. And now she's getting that she never got from her daughter. She's getting from her significant other, and seeing that it's not so different than how it would be with any other relationship you would have with a child. You get one thing from your child, you get a different thing from their significant other, and that's what she's getting in that moment. And she accepts it, realizes it, immediately is takes ownership of that person, is able to make a joke about how that's between us. And, that is probably the coolest moment of the whole series, of the whole show episode to me, is that where the daughter comes in and she's just seeing this dynamic and
it's such a simple act, but it means,
and she wasn't on her radar. I'm just kind of another person like this. This is going to be weird, but no, she's saying, oh no, I'm getting another person, an individual that is different and has their own gifts and things, just like you would expect to be looking for in any person that your child brings home. You're looking for good things in them, and she's, starts to see that she has something to offer, and that they can celebrate this holiday without, and it could still be traditional. And
right,
I think it's just it's over the top better.
Yeah, and it would be very easy to be over dramatic and to be no daughter of mine, that kind of TV drama that we might be used to with lesser shows. But Angela Bassett's performance and the writing just elevate it to the subtlety and the nuance and how complicated these relationships are. And what's Thanksgiving without awkward family dynamics? So yeah, I don't think this bracket has to be the best show wins, because there's a lot of shows on here, and it doesn't have to be the most Thanksgiving-y one. There's a million different criteria we can use in our own heads.
Yeah.
So I could very easily say Garfield, is the more the
traditional
choice.
It checks more boxes.
Yeah.
More holiday favorite. And I could very easily say Master of None is a higher quality product, but Garfield never made me cry, and this show just burrowed itself into my heart. So I'm for this side of the bracket, I'll say Master of None.
Yeah.
All right, let's revisit. Over here on the left, probably
previously.
Probably the number one seed of all 59 or whatever these we had when we started out. WKRP in Cincinnati. Turkeys away.
God is my witness. I thought turkeys could fly.
Versus Seinfeld, the mom and pop shop.
Just a quick peek. I'm in agony.
All right, sit down.
It's this one here in the back.
Oh! You popped Woody Woodpecker! Hey, who invited you anyway? You're a troublemaker.
This to me is an easier choice. Seinfeld's one of the all-time greatest. But if we're talking Thanksgiving, I think this was a number one seed for a reason, and I hadn't watched that show, any episode of that show, in years, and I watched WKRP this afternoon. I was just like, wow, this is Thanksgiving to me. Happy Thanksgiving. So I'm going WKRP over Seinfeld.
Yeah, I feel like that's where we're going, but I'm going to say Seinfeld just because I think, I just had so much fun watching this episode. I loved Mr. Pitt and all this, his childlike, the way and every time he's in the show, he's so childlike, and I like watching Elaine have to deal with him, and I liked his wanting to just be a kid again and get to, hold the rope for the balloon, Woody Woodpecker balloon, and I like the anticipation of this Thanksgiving parade party and all that, but all the convoluted stuff and the John Boy. It's a good episode of television.
Yeah.
Is it the most Thanksgiving? No, and the other one is so very Thanksgiving. I like them. I do like them both, but I'm just gonna say Seinfeld.
I love the exchange, Kramer and George. You got a problem with Woody Woodpecker? Yeah, what is he? Some sort of instigator? That's right. He's a troublemaker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good stuff. It's solid.
Yeah.
Every time I watch that show, I'm reminded how good it is. So
I have to make a decision.
Yeah.
You started this list, Cliff. You're going to finish.
That's right. Damn it. Yeah, I can't go against the number one for me right here.
Yeah.
WKRP.
You said from the beginning.
Yep.
You said from the beginning this was your number one seed.
It definitely was. Again, man, we've talked a lot about Thanksgiving and a lot of different shows from a lot of different decades, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I think this will be something that we can build off of and do maybe more brackets, maybe not this many, but entries, but yeah,
you just try and get it by with less than 60. Just try it.
So
Seth's
yeah,
argument
WKRP.
was, this is the only time we're doing this, so we got to get them all.
We got to watch them all.
Something's going in the annals, and
yeah,
we get one shot at this.
59
exactly.
aren't. So
so we're down to our final two.
Yes, WKRP, Master of None.
Yeah. So as far as WKRP, again, I think it's a great cast. Again, I was reminded how much I like this cast. I probably need to do a rewatch of the show. It's been a long time. I enjoyed the episode. We had the Lonnie Anderson stuff, and
Yeah.
there wasn't much of Herb hitting on her. I feel like there was so much more in a normal episode of him being all over her, and I like the dynamic where she set up the rules. She doesn't.
I don't do that.
She doesn't do a lot of things. How'd she get away with it? Yeah, Herb's like, come on, Well, how do you think?
Yeah.
And she doesn't get coffee, but she was willing at the end. She offers to get coffee.
Yeah.
After what he's been through it. She's willing to get coffee. And I love any episode of WKRP where Andy Travis awkwardly puts a ball cap on because they want him to have some sort of. I mean, there's so many episodes that he tries to put. The guy obviously never wears a ball cap. On his hairsprayed hair that he's got going on, but they got to throw in some Cincinnati paraphernalia.
You got to know where they are. Yeah.
So that's
living on the air in Cincinnati.
Yeah, what a great theme song.
What does Masters of None have a good theme song? I don't remember.
I don't know if it has
Probably
a theme
not.
song.
Netflix doesn't go all out for that.
Yeah, that's true. What a knock.
That's a mark against it.
Yeah, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I guess.
Well, yeah.
But as far as these two shows, again.
Well, while we're on WKP, I will just say this. I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, what's
WTAP?
WTAP?
WKPP?
I'm like, what's the Ka-Pow pick here, right? We tend to skew away from the most obvious thing a lot of times, but yet there's a little connection here to past episodes. And the Mr. Carlson character, that actor, we had a fun time talking about him in Different Strokes, and playing the bicycle man.
Yeah, he was the bicycle man
on a very special episode. So it's kind of
oh, he's trying to pull out all the stops.
It's kind of fun though to these things tend to.
What you talking about, Cliff?
Come back up. So yeah, I hadn't watched WKRP in a long time, and that was one of the first. I made the comment as I was watching. I was like, "Oh, the bicycle man," So that was a fun thing.
That's
KPP.
true. That's
very
true.
KPP. So, anyways, go ahead.
Nice try. Yeah, I think it would be the Ka-Pow thing to do to put Master Nut up here. Say, hey, people, go watch this episode. See what we're talking about. See that we do love all of these sitcoms, and we came in here expecting and kind of pushing them because that's the things that we associate with this, and yet this one is stuck in our craw like this. This one really, just kept banging its way through, knocking the doors down, saying this is also what Thanksgiving is about, and it's just as traditional as any of the rest of them, and can be one of your go-to Thanksgiving shows to watch. And for me, when I watched it, I thought, dang, I should watch this every year because it is about Thanksgiving and has a good vibe all the way through it. So my pick is Master and Nut.
I don't think there's a wrong choice here.
Agree. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
So you can do whatever you want. You won't hurt my
it is a little weird to have the number one seed just ride all the way through. That's not how we do things. What are we doing?
Exactly. Which way you leaning?
I don't know. Part of me thought I'd have to kind of fight for Masters of None because it was so non-traditional, and there's so many easier choices to pick. Like, oh, this is way more fun. This is way more Thanksgiving.
Sure.
I didn't expect it to get this far. I thought just mentioning it and talking about it and recommending it would be enough. So now that it's on the verge of winning, I'm like, oh, whoa, have we done the right thing?
We screwed this up. No.
I like, don't forget, was dating that one girl who was Nipples and Toes 23 on Instagram. And that was like, oh my gosh, that was not a good one.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think it's KPP's duty and obligation to pick Masters of None as the winner.
There you go.
So in the annals of history, is it a clean sweep, Cliff, or are you going with your number one still?
No, I was kind of leaning towards Master of None, and I think that's a good pick tonight.
I love it. In the annals of history, the greatest Thanksgiving episode of all time is Master of None, Season 2, episode entitled Thanksgiving, Episode 8, from May 12th, 2017. It's only 34 minutes and is rated a 9.4 on IMDb. It's rated a 10 on WKPP.
I know that's right. What y'all in here laughing about? Don't you worry about it.
I'm just gonna take this out.
Thank you. I think this is gonna be a lovely Thanksgiving, Denise. Yeah, I think so. And I like Michelle. I like her too. I'm happy for you.
Guys, I just got a text from Nikki. She's kicking it with that bulldog that skateboards through people's legs. They're close by, wondering if they can roll through.
Dee Dee, you want to get the chocolate milk ready? Okay. So, I'm just never gonna live that down, huh?
Hey, I was nice to her. I made her chocolate milk.
Yeah, but you ain't do the right recipe, though. You mess up the ratio. You put too much of the powder in there.
So, Deb, do you come over for every Thanksgiving?
Oh, yeah. He's here every year. Since he was a little boy. The two of them playing upstairs with toys. Oh, then when they was teenagers, smoking weed and playing Nintendo. What are you talking about? Oh, please, I found one of your sad little blunts in the trash. It was depressing. I smoked it, though.
Wait, so you guys knew?
Coming down to dinner all bug-eyed and smelling like lemon air freshener. Thinking y'all was slick. Please.
What are y'all laughing about?
Go ahead.
So, Grandma, when we were teenagers, we used to go upstairs and smoke weed, and we didn't think they knew, but they did.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. The whole house smelled like reefer.
Can we say grace?
We did it.
That's it. My God.
You got your results.
It's 4:19 a.m., so don't tell us that we don't give it our all.
Right.
Put a full night in for you to get as much detail as possible, to thoroughly examine every single thing. So if we happen to miss something, let us know. Give us a comment.
It's possible. There's probably 10 times as many Thanksgiving episodes out there, I realized.
So, yeah, we may have forgotten one of your favorites that you watch every year. We'll watch it. Tell us. We'll watch it.
Yeah, might as well now.
What's a few more? I mean, what the hell?
You know, I don't have any more to watch. And it's
Before
it's not even Thanksgiving yet.
Yeah.
But I need something to watch.
Yeah, I went through my cable and was like, you can search for that stuff. I said, like, so I was looking up what, the King of Queens is on Nick at Night a lot, and Raymond and Friends and Seinfeld. I was like, oh, they play Roseanne on some channel. So I've got a Roseanne gonna save to my DVR at like 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
I hope it's not the best one you ever saw.
Thanksgiving, where like it has to do with Pulp Fiction. They do a Thanksgiving play inspired by Pulp Fiction. I was like, okay, I gotta watch that one.
Oh, I gotta watch that one.
There's more to come. It's still a couple weeks, couple days till Thanksgiving. So
yeah,
you got time. Get in there. Get in
It'll
there.
be an addendum.
Alrighty, everybody. We're living on the air in Marietta. Marietta, WKC. Good night. My name's Joe.
Cliff Barnes.
I'm tired of packing and unpacking. Bye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, join our Patreon at patreon.com/udownwithkpp for special content and access to Patreon-only benefits. We are grateful for anyone who chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will remain free. So please continue to like, comment, and share.